Aaron Wan-Bissaka is injured, so Eric Bailly, who's not played in the Premier League since early October, starts today. Delighted to have Paul Parker alongside me once again. Did you have a good one?
As good as can be, really. That day was enough for me, to be perfectly honest, and now the wife is talking about cold stuff, which is a bit worrying.
What, food?
I think so. When she just said cold stuff.
She means cold food. I love Boxing Day salad. Once we've done this, I'm gonna go and treat myself to a huge plate of it. Anyway, as I said, more important matters to address. Your club, former club Manchester United. Are you totally convinced by the statistics at the moment? I know that a lot of people were calling for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's head not so long ago, but here they are, sitting in a position where they can go second in the Premier League today. Their current record's fantastic. Their away record's even better. What are you expecting from them?
I think you always look, I think you're looking for some kind of performance and result, really, because, dare I say it, the stats suggest that United is all about away form at this moment in time. Do I believe in the position they're in? I have to say my answer is the standards are not as high as what they were a few years back. I think if you look at how Manchester United are, and if you judge them on their performances, seeing them over 90 minutes regular, at this moment in time, this Premier League is not very strong.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the teams. Eric Bailly is back. He figured against Everton in the cup win in midweek, but it's been a while since he's played in the Premier League. We were just musing about what the formation might be, because they don't really have a natural right back, Manchester United, so they could play with Lindelof, I guess, or they could play with three centre-halves and maybe put Daniel James at right back. Either way, you'd be forcing a player to play out of position.
Yeah, in a certain way, but I think the easiest way for me is for Lindelof to go to right back, and then you have Bailly next to Harry Maguire. But then I don't know who's going to be leading who goes in there, to be perfectly honest. Harry Maguire is struggling to lead himself, let alone try and lead Eric Bailly, who plays a game with a crash helmet and dark glasses on, because it is crash bang wallet when he does play. So it's a worry. And Lindelof at right back, you're saying to yourself, you're not expecting him to attack and overlap, because you just don't see him doing that. It's just not in his nature. So you're saying to yourself, they're going to be very limited in going forward on the right hand side, because Daniel James, who will play on that right hand side if they do go to a four at the back, there's not going to be any coordination or any pattern of play between the two of them, because I don't think they would have done anything together. So United are going to be limited on attacking off their right hand side.
Yeah, and Leicester, I mean, they seem to be better away from home than at home, ironically. They'll be delighted that Jamie Vardy has shaken off a knock. But, I mean, they won the league in 2016. Nobody expected them to repeat that. But here they are. If they win, they'd only be a point behind Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I think there was a lot that people never expected when Leicester won the league, and all of a sudden we're in a position, is something none of us knew was going to happen. So for Leicester to go out and win a second Premier League, you're not going to write it off at this moment in time. You're not going to write off Manchester United doing it because of what's going on, because if this weren't going on, as everyone was saying, United would 5-6 years away from being close, but the current climate has allowed them to get into the picture a little bit quicker than anyone expected. So unexpectancy should not be seen as unexpected in this current climate, I should say.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, 6 points separate the top six. That's the beauty of the Premier League at the moment. In just a moment, we'll be looking back at last weekend and also ahead to all the other games being played today on Premier League Live.
TalkSport. Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at TalkSport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
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 Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to TalkSport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new TalkSport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Doug, a sporting legend and angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying your Boxing Day so far. It's just about to get a whole lot better because the Premier League is going to kick off again in about 20 minutes' time. We've got 6 games for you today, 4 more tomorrow. But before we start looking ahead to all of those, let's just take a while to look back at what happened last weekend in the English top flight. Pulisic driving forward. This is a wonderful run by the American. Finds Mason Mount out wide inside the box. His cross. There's Pulisic. Here's Abraham. And it's another one.
McTominay's in again. And he finds the bottom corner again. Scott McTominay, 2 in 2 minutes. And James is into the penalty area. Through the legs of the goalkeeper.
You know, it's 13 games into the season. We're a team we're a work in progress. We're getting better. We're getting fitter, stronger. Still a few details to nail. And let's talk about that later on.
Drives in field now of Brighton. High ball into the box towards Jamie Vardy, who knocks it down, deflected in for 2-0. It's gone in off Toby Alderweireld. They lead by 2-0. Well, Trossard, his cross is a good one. Webster's out there, and Danny Welbeck has to score. And Danny Welbeck does score. And Brighton get themselves back on level terms.
Ball is laid into Minamino scores. Trent Alexander-Arnold sets up Henderson. Oh, that is another wonderful goal from Liverpool. Here's the corner. It's an outswinger. There's a header, and it's in. And Salah's got his goal. Here's Salah again. He might get another. Oh, he has. It's brilliant.
In all other moments, it was a really good game. Our finishing was exceptional, and the first and the second half. And so, yeah, that's the reason for the result.
Yeah, terrific weekend just gone by before Christmas, post-Christmas. Liverpool start the day 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League, so neither of the teams that we're about to watch will be able to catch them off the back of that extraordinary 7-0 win against Crystal Palace. Paul, are they perhaps not odds-on favourites, but heavy favourites? Do you think Liverpool to defend the title again? Are they a cut above everyone else, or looking it now?
Well, I've seen them twice this season. I saw them at Fulham, where I thought the first 45 minutes was Fulham's best ever Premier League performance in the previous one and this one. It was an incredible 45 minutes by Fulham, and they should have been more than one goal up against Liverpool. Liverpool had good fortune to get a penalty and got away with it. And then I was at Crystal Palace, where at one point it could have been 1-1, it could have been 2-1, it could have been 3-1 at Crystal Palace. Liverpool went in front early and that was them done. But then they had that second half where they've went and scored 4 goals. Crystal Palace didn't do enough. But I have to say, in what I've seen this season so far, they're the only side who I would say who can win this Premier League this season. They won't be maybe at their best of what we saw the previous season or the first half of last season, but they are what I've seen as the best team. We've seen other teams who are there at the moment having a little bit of a choke at it, but I think Liverpool overall, even with the injuries they've got, I still believe they are the team who are going to win the Premier League this season, and for me to say that is tough.
Yeah. They're in action at home to West Bromwich Albion, who of course are struggling at the bottom. That's tomorrow. In the meantime, we've got Aston Villa against Crystal Palace for you, and then a big one, Paul, Arsenal against Chelsea. It's always a big London derby when these two meet. Chelsea, as we were hearing, were comfortable winners in their game at the weekend, but Arsenal, well, it's doom and gloom really as far as they're concerned. They're down in 15th. They're only 4 points above the relegation zone, and Mikel Arteta is talking the talk. He's claiming that the statistics suggest that Arsenal are better than their position would suggest, but frankly it's not statistics that decide relegation, promotion and titles, is it?
No, it's not, and then it's people who will decide when the stats suit them to use them, and at this moment people have decided they're using them, and everything about Arsenal suggests they are where they are because they haven't been good enough. And if you watch Arsenal, forget stats, watch teams regularly, and you'll see that Arsenal are poor as individuals and they're poor as a team, and that's the reason why they are sitting 4 points away. And in my lifetime I never ever heard talk like this about Arsenal, but to see Arsenal in the position they're in is something no one would ever expect, because Arsenal have never been relegated.
No, that's right.
It's as simple as that. Have they ever come close to it? Someone's going to have to dig deep and show me something, but I'm sure then it was steam trains if it was happening. But no, Arsenal have got massive problems. Can they win this game against Chelsea? They could do. They could come out all guns blazes and have a good go, because you don't know what Chelsea are going to turn up. And as much as that result for Chelsea the other day still wasn't a great performance, they didn't really control the game. You look at the goals they scored, they picked them off, but no, Chelsea have not got going for a team that has spent that amount of money.
Yeah, I mean Arsenal, they worry me slightly, as you say. I mean Sam Allardyce, new into the job at West Brom, has suggested that Arsenal, by virtue of their position, have to be considered as relegation rivals to the Baggies. My qualms about Arsenal at the moment are, do they look like they're a team that can dig themselves out of a hole? Have they got the sort of players, who've got the sufficient mettle to rescue them? I mean, they ended up the other day with Rob Holding as captain. Nothing against Rob Holding at all as a player, but I mean, they seem to lack leaders, don't they?
They certainly do. Well, let's throw one in the mix. Man United have got Harry Maguire, so it tells you giving away armbands is quite easy at this moment in time. But if you look at Arsenal, you have to say no, they never had, let's use the word anyway, had no balls about them when they're fighting to get into the Champions League. So what are they going to find players and asking them about getting relegated? We want you to fight to stay in the Premier League. Not many of them are going to really want to, because if they do get relegated, it means they can walk away from what they've got, or they're still going to get paid the same money. They only get found out in the Championship. So there's not enough there for me for Arsenal week in, week out. I thought Arteta had actually got it sorted as an ex-player. The respect he'd have, because everyone will remember him as a player, the players who he signed. But you suddenly realise in football doesn't happen like that anymore. You can't really trust the players around you. You have to dig really deep to find those kind of players who are motivated week in, week out on their own terms. They don't need someone to do it for them. They've got that bit between their teeth already. Arsenal have not got enough of them, and there's not enough of them in the Premier League, I'm going to say, at this moment in time. If you want players with the bits between their teeth, drop outside the Premier League and below, and you'll find them.
Yeah. Let's before we leave Arsenal, hear from Mikel Arteta. He's under pressure, of course. Chelsea's a difficult game for them at the Emirates, but he says it would be the perfect Christmas present if they could end their poor run with a win.
Well, the best boost, the best medicine when you are in this situation is to win a football match. Every defeat is another hurting moment, is another moment of disappointment, is another moment that you have to lift up yourself, and that takes a lot of energy. So I think the best medicine for all of us would be to come here against Chelsea, beat them, and move from there. And this is exactly what we all need.
Well, that's coming up at 5:30. Barry Swain and Kev Watson will be guiding you through that one. After that, it's Manchester City against Newcastle. Tom Rennie and Dave Kitson. Manchester City are an interesting situation this season, Paul. They're 8th in the Premier League, far too low for them. They're 8 points adrift of Liverpool, which is far too adrift for them, and they just aren't scoring goals. Of all the teams in the top 10, Manchester City have scored the fewest, 19. It's a riddle that Pep Guardiola has been scratching his bald head and trying to sort out, but as yet hasn't.
Well, let's go straight away. He was scratching his head.
No, sorry.
Don't emphasise on the baldness. I think we have to remember as well, which is quite good for City. They've had a few clean sheets. So they've added a little bit to their game, in the sense there's a little bit more resilience. They've got themselves a decent centre half in Diaz. Him and Laporte together have been decent. And whoever he's been with, they seem to be a little bit more unified in the centre of defence. The problem is their fullbacks have been shocking. That's been the problem with City. So, and they're struggling to score. Aguero hasn't put a run together of games together. Jesus they're saying he's out now.
Yeah, he can't. Carl Walker.
Yeah, they can't play the game, mostly because they might be feeling top of the game, but at the moment in time they're not allowed to play. So you don't know whether it might do them a bit of good to move away from what they've got. Bringing back Mendy though is always a problem, so I really don't know what's he going to do fullback wise, especially on the right side.
City at home to Newcastle, then it's Sheffield United against Everton, wraps it all up. Sheffield United, of course, who got only their second point of the season recently. Fulham struggling as well. They are in a 3 o'clock kickoff at home to Southampton. Tomorrow it's Leeds against Burnley. Leeds, Marcelo Bielsa says, won't change their style despite losing 6-2 to Manchester United. West Ham against Brighton, who are relegation threatened. We mentioned Liverpool, West Brom, and rounding it all off is Tottenham Hotspur, another of the potential title contenders. They are at Wolves. Here at the King Power, it's a lot warmer than it was on Christmas Day. Looking forward enormously to Manchester United's visit to Leicester City. Let's hear from the two managers ahead of this one then, Brendan Rodgers and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
It's one of the only weeks that we've had a break since we started, so it gives us a chance to recover some players, which can help, of course, and allow us to be a fraction fresher for the weekend. But also at the same time, if you're playing the midweek, you're managing your squad in order to retain the freshness, and I'm sure when we play Manchester United at the weekend, they'll be fitting round to go as well.
Oh, top team, and we've played them a few times, and I've got loads of respect and for them as a team, Brendan as a coach and manager, and we've played some good games against them.
Yeah, you saw your place in the top 4 there at the end of last season, didn't you, on the final day?
Yeah, it was a big game for us, and one that I felt my players learned a lot from. The build up to that one, it was a big one to get into the Champions League. Of course, now we're out, so we need to get back into Champions League, so it's another big game.
It's the past, so you can't really affect it. So, and there's no point worrying about it. That's always the notion I tend to have. I think that we went close in a couple of games last year, weren't quite good enough to win the games, but each season it's another challenge for us. They've got a fantastic squad of players and got really talented players, but no, it should make for a really, really good game.
I can't believe why we're there now again after a Wednesday night. It's just absolutely no sense in it. But then again, we've won tonight, and we should have energy. We've made a few changes. Of course, quite a few of these will have to play because there's injuries and niggles, but we're looking forward to it, of course, a big game.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer rounding it off there. What are your thoughts on him, Paul? He mentioned the Everton win. They're through to a League Cup semi-final against Manchester City, who have, as we've mentioned, are not in the greatest shape at the moment. You'd fancy United with a really good chance of picking up a trophy. Obviously, the big black mark is they're out of the Champions League. Is it enough for United to pick up the League Cup and qualify for the Champions League by virtue of fourth place, or do they need to be more ambitious at the moment?
I think that's, to look at that and given everything that's in front of Ollie, I would say that's sufficient, in my opinion, and people have their own opinion, but you look at what everything Manchester United have been about over the years. Everyone knows what the problem is, and as much as he makes it, if he was even to go and win the league, that wouldn't help him the following season, because whatever he's got there will be taken away from him. So to go out and you look at it, forget Manchester United, look at yourself and you say what you want to do as a manager. You want to win a trophy for your CV. His CV needs it because people keep throwing negatives at his CV. So go and enhance that CV by winning a trophy, and that's by winning he's got opportunity to win a League Cup. City aren't going to be easy. They're going to be tougher than what they were previous, because there's more resilience about them now. They're not going to be as open as they have been, because everything suggests they're not open because they're not scoring a lot of goals, but they're not conceding a lot either. So go and try and win a trophy and go from there. There's still an FA Cup to play in as well. Yep. You never know about that, but try this season to get everything in order and try and guarantee your Champions League spot as early as possible, and that will make everything else at that given time a lot easier. Yeah, absolutely. There's the Europa League, of course, for Manchester United as well. Tough draw in that, though, against Real Sociedad. Tough draw in the Cup as well. They've got the mighty Hornets in the third round. We'll be back in just a moment with all the action from the King Power Stadium. Such a shame that on Boxing Day, when you normally get huge crowds, that it is empty. Everybody's keen to get away from home, get away from the relatives and watch the football. It's not happening this year on Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leicester City against Manchester United from the King Power Stadium. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Manchester United and England fullback, Paul Parker. This is Premier League Live. So the Boxing Day fixture list starts here in the East Midlands with second against top as Manchester United bring their extraordinary away record to the King Power Stadium. They're aiming for an 11th consecutive Premier League away win. That's only ever been achieved twice in the Premier League era, by Chelsea in 2008 and by Manchester City in 2017. And the most astonishing thing really about it all is that in all of their 6 away wins this season, in every single one, Manchester United have had to come from behind. It is a quite astonishing statistic. We think, judging by what we're being shown on our graphics here on our monitors, that potentially Lindelof, Maguire and Bailly may form a back three, and Daniel James will be pressed into playing as a right wing back. We'll wait to see how they line up when we confirm that. They're out in the middle, Manchester United wearing red and white as you would expect, Leicester City wearing blue. So can Manchester United, who do have a game in hand over Liverpool as well, get within 2 points of their arch rivals? Liverpool 31 points, Leicester 27, Manchester United 26. Let's not forget Leicester, though. If they win, they'd be within a point of Liverpool at the top of the table. So this is an absolutely huge game. They met here back in May. Manchester United won by 2-0, which meant that they and not Leicester would go through to the Champions League. United, of course, are already out of the Champions League. The only away game they've lost recently was at Başakşehir in Turkey, and that was pretty much the game that cost them their Champions League play. So both of these teams are in the Europa League. United play Sociedad and Leicester City play Slavia Prague. But this is the start of the Boxing Day programme, and looking forward enormously to this one. Leicester are unchanged. Manchester United have brought in Eric Bailly for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, their only change. So Leicester have Kasper Schmeichel in goal. The back four is James Jocelyn, Wesley Fofana, Johnny Evans, the former Manchester United man, and Timothy Castagne. The holding midfield players are Wilfred Ndidi and Yuri Tielemans. Then it's Mark Albrighton, James Maddison and Harvey Barnes. Up front, the Premier League second top scorer Jamie Vardy, who scored in 5 times previously against today's opponents. United have David De Gea in goal. The back three, Victor Lindelof, Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire. Then it's Daniel James, Scott McTominay, got 2 goals inside 3 minutes against Leeds last weekend, and Fred with Luke Shaw on the left. And then it's Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial up front. Here is Fernandes, swirling it in, chance for Rashford. Oh, he's missed a sitter. What a chance for Manchester United. Rashford can't believe he's headed that over the bar. It was put on a plate for him by Fernandes. He was onside. United scored in the first minute against Leeds. They should have scored in the first minute against Leicester.
Without a shadow of a doubt, they should be 1-0 up. If that's a goal scorer, a goal poacher, that's 1-0 Manchester United, when in theory they hadn't done anything to earn the right. Neither team had, really. No. Leicester have been trying to play themselves out of a hole, playing a little bit intricate, maybe too early in the game, and they give an opportunity to United and they fail miserably. Marcus Rashford has to be better. That's one of the biggest problems of his game. He does not finish off enough opportunities given to him.
That was a really, really poor header. It was also really poorly defended. He was left on his own. They should be leading United, as you say. I'm being reminded by Sal's in the City, it's Mike Dean refereeing. Someone's going to get sent off for sure. 107 yellow cards Mike Dean has shown in over 500 games as a referee. Here's Johnny Evans, once of Manchester United, won 3 titles with the Reds under Sir Alex Ferguson, of course. Plays it out wide to the far side. United win it back. It's loose in midfield, but tigerishly won back by Tielemans for Leicester. And it's with Albrighton on this near side. Albrighton's got an overlap here from Justin. Justin into the box. There's Vardy. And the volley under pressure from Bailly goes over the crossbar. So both Rashford and Vardy at either end have had early opportunities to score. That was a good counter-attacking move by Leicester. Bailly's position was just sufficient to put Vardy off. He's toe-poked it over the bar. But with both sides going close inside 3 minutes, it bodes well for entertainment.
Well, it certainly does. It makes it seem like it's quite open at the moment. But that was just typical Leicester with Justin going round the outside. And Luke Shaw is going to have a massive problem this game with worrying about him shooting all over the place and looking to get beyond him. But Vardy is always going to be nipping in front of people. Bailly's made a shout like he was attacked, but the problem was he was in the wrong position.
He's got 42% of Leicester City's Premier League goals, Jamie Vardy, this season. As I mentioned, he's been a prolific scorer in the past against Manchester United, despite the fact that Leicester City have not had very much success against today's opponents. 8 defeats in the last 9 in the Premier League against Manchester United. And the people who study these things, and I wouldn't necessarily include myself among them, tell me that Manchester United have the best Boxing Day record of any team in Premier League history. It is impressive. 26 games, 21 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. Here's Harvey Barnes for Leicester City in towards Vardy. It's headed away by Eric Bailly, who for the second time is involved in making sure that Leicester's top scorer doesn't get close to an opening goal for them. Throw in taken quickly. Here's Tielemans. Goes all the way back to Wesley Fofana, and now James Justin. Fofana again. I know Fofana's a player you admire, Paul.
Yeah, he's come onto the scene really well, and I just like him centre half because he doesn't just play as your standard centre half. He's just agile, he's tenacious, and he takes up good areas, and he's got good pace. He's absolutely perfect for that position.
Here's Rashford coming forward, finds Fernandes, or tries to, but Johnny Evans is there to intercept and then to smash the ball away for a throw-in on the far side. Johnny Evans made nearly 200 appearances for Manchester United in his career, the Northern Ireland international. Mike Dean is just pointing to the spot where the throw needs to be taken. We've had 5 minutes. It could easily be 1-1. Terila Igbalumun says United will win by 2-1, listening in Ikyobo, Nigeria. Happy Christmas to you and thanks for listening. Keep your tweets coming at TalkSport Live. This looks a lively game. It's Albrighton under pressure here from Shaw, who's won the ball off him. It's Luke Shaw who plays it into Anthony Martial. It's an extraordinarily weak shot by Martial off his right foot. It bounces, bobbles and dribbles into the gloves of Kasper Schmeichel.
Well, its touch weren't too bad, but it wasn't a touch set to have a strike with, because he was having to hit across his left foot with his right foot, so he was never set for it. That's the reason why it came off like it did. He's another player who's struggling to score regular enough in the Premier League at this moment in time for Manchester United. The 2 main players they keep talking about in that front line just don't score enough goals for United.
Yeah, he did score in the midweek against Everton at Goodison, that goal which sealed the win in the League Cup. United, of course, lost 3 semi-finals last season. They're into one already this season. Bailly back to De Gea. De Gea's having to scamper back to get the ball, which he does safely. And Bailly again, then under pressure from Barnes, the ball just pops out of play. Bailly's had a couple of good moments, and those 2 were slightly less good, weren't they?
Yeah, that's the way his game is. It's just very, very erratic. You just don't know what you're going to get in a moment with Bailly. When he's right, he looks incredible. The problem is, he'll give you 2 games and he's out injured again. So that's the problem with it. There's no consistency in him playing games, let alone performances, because he doesn't get the games together to get the consistent
game in the Premier League since October the 4th. Tussle for possession. Tielemans wins it. Centre midfield. Back it goes from Barnes to Fofana, who's 20 years old. They call him Little Wes because, of course, Wes Morgan is the club captain at Leicester City. But here come Leicester again, and this is Castagne, who rolls it back into Tielemans. Tielemans has gone for a crossbar, he heads it away, and Rashford on the edge of his penalty area has a bit of green grass ahead of him to try and exploit as he comes forward. He's going to try and use his pace to get past James Justin, and Justin comprehensively beats him. That was either overconfidence or lack of knowledge about how quick Justin is from Rashford. Here's Barnes for Leicester. It's absolutely open at the moment. It's a poor ball though by Barnes. He's given it to Fred, who looks around him and finds Luke Shaw, whose only ever Premier League goal came against Leicester, as De Gea makes a mistake, and it's cut back by Albrighton towards Maddison, and De Gea got his feet in a tangle. It was pinched off him by Albrighton, who tried to cross into James Maddison inside the box. This game has got to have goals in it, Paul, not least because both teams are making mistakes.
Well, the problem is as well is that De Gea got put in the mire.
Oh, he's made a mistake as well. Sorry, cut across you there, but Martial was menacing forward. When it came to the final ball, he's given it away. But back to the original statement, it looks like a game where oh, hang on, is Vardy onside here? We're going to have to wait and see. He's put it wide anyway. The flag, I think, has gone up. He looked miles offside to me. But already in 8.5 minutes, Paul, we've had all kinds of counter-attacking. We've had attempts on goal. He wasn't offside by much, actually, Vardy there. And we've had a lot of errors.
We certainly have. I just believe there's been too many times with this United back four where they just give the ball, they pass the buck, and they put De Gea under so much pressure there. And everyone will have a go at De Gea and talk about his feet. Well, I'm sorry, first and foremost, he's a goalkeeper. If he makes mistakes with his hands, dig that out. But they gave him a ball to his feet. He might be okay, but you don't put him under that kind of pressure. They totally bottled the situation and said, you can have it. It was like a hot potato. Shocking, that was. Very selfish.
It was. And Maguire didn't react very quickly, and that's why Leicester were able to pinch the ball with Albrighton. Here's Lindelof finding Scott McTominay, who had an extraordinary start last time out, the first Premier League player ever to score 2 goals inside 3 minutes, first 3 minutes of a game. Here's Rashford, who should have scored earlier, finding Shaw, edge of the penalty area, but again the last touch is, I think he was attempting to get round his man, but it's squirted away. De Gea's rubbing the small of his back at the moment. He doesn't look terribly comfortable, the Manchester United goalkeeper, and as we say that, it looks like Dean Henderson is warming up, so United may have an early problem here. We've only got 10 minutes. David De Gea is wincing, he's not comfortable at all, and Manchester United may be forced into a very early goalkeeping substitute. Here's McTominay forward towards James, who makes a mess of that. Scored in the 6-2 rout of Leeds, Daniel James, but it was his first Premier League goal for 18 months, the Welshman. And he's been beaten here by Harvey Barnes and was rescued by McTominay. Good refereeing by Mike Dean. He tried to let play go on, and then once the tackle was made, he's brought back the play to penalise Daniel James for that foul.
Yeah, well, Manchester United have got problems already with and without the ball on the right-hand side. As I said before, there's no cohesion between the fullback and Daniel James. Lindelof is getting balls played up the inside of him and being outrun by Harvey Barnes. He's getting run at 1-against-1 by Harvey Barnes. Big problem defensively, United, with those two on that right-hand side.
Yes, and here come Leicester down the left this time, attacking that Manchester United right. It's not a good ball by Castagne. United have brought it away. It's James back to Victor Lindelof. Lindelof under pressure from Castagne, who's getting himself in a bit of a tangle, and he's given away a throw in 10 yards from the corner flag. This is ragged from United at the moment, and Leicester will look to capitalise. The only game they've won recently against Manchester United was a 5-3 thriller a couple of seasons ago, and haven't had much success since then, or indeed before then. They haven't scored in their last 2 home games against Manchester United, Leicester. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on his feet barking instructions as the ball is headed forward by Bruno Fernandes, then hooked away by Evans, and then headed away by Lindelof. It's head tennis at the moment, but Tielemans brings it down to the ground. Maddison thought he was fouled by McTominay, nothing given. So Manchester United will move towards the halfway line. Harry Maguire, the captain, crossing halfway now and looking around him and playing a ball in towards Rashford. Johnny Evans gets above him. It falls to Dan James. Now it's Rashford again who's offside. Shane Moran, good day team. What a way to start Boxing Day with 2 heavyweight clubs. Expect a lot of counter-attacking football. To put an Aussie analogy, more on the hop than a kangaroo. 2-2 draw is my prediction, says Shane. Nice to have you with us. 3 Den Hazard. Happy Boxing Day to the finest commentary duo on 5 continents. My God, that's high praise indeed. We're enjoying listening to this delightful appetizer before the afternoon's main course of a London derby up the Chelsea. Well, it's been entertaining so far. We've had 13 minutes of the King Power. Both teams have gone close to scoring, and both teams have come close to gifting opportunities to the other as well. It's going to be a free kick to Leicester just inside the Manchester United half. Just a foul there on Barnes by McTominay. Been taken short by Leicester. Tielemans has it. Back it goes to Evans and all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel, whose father, of course, Peter, was a teammate of yours, Paul, and one of the greats at Manchester United.
Yeah, he certainly was. We both signed on the same day.
Really?
Well, there was 3 of us, me, him and Andrei Kanchelskis all signed on the same day.
Yeah, he was a lively player, Kanchelskis. What was it like having Peter Schmeichel behind you? I imagine it brought an enormous amount of peace of mind. Was he vocal?
100%.
I think Kasper's inherited that as well. I read somewhere that somebody did an article about picking up the noisiest players with no crowd, and apparently Schmeichel is one of those who likes barking and instruction.
Yeah, I think you find most good goalkeepers have always got an opinion about what you should be doing as a defender.
Yeah. Here's Johnny Evans, another ex-United player, down the line towards Harvey Barnes, who hooks it forward towards Vardy. It's a nice touch by Vardy to Tielemans. Tielemans just trying to get past Fred, does that but not past Lindelof, who intercepts. Lindelof scored a rare goal against Leeds, a header from a corner, and it goes out of play on the far side, just short of a quarter of an hour played. Leicester City 0, Manchester United 0. Adams Bandile, Manchester United 3, Leicester 1 is the prediction from Adams in Ghana. Well, as we said, we're expecting goals here. Here's flick on by Barnes. It's headed away by Baita. Freddie was a bit dozy there and almost caught in possession by Ndidi, but no harm done. The ball goes out of play on the far side.
I just find when you a Manchester United start with them at McTominay and Fred, you're actually labelling how you're going to play the game, which is going to be slow, ponderous, with no great creativity, and that's what's happened at this moment in time. They're just playing in that way. Everyone's saying, but Leeds, got to remember, Leeds started the game dozy, weren't thinking, and that's why the reason why they scored 2 quick goals. But those 2 are not made to create. They sit deep, and all they do is just try and block up holes and stop players playing.
Yeah, throw into United. Fernandes, who was hobbling a moment ago, seems okay.
As everyone normally does.
Yeah, ditto De Gea. And we thought we might get a goalkeeping switch. We haven't yet. Here's Fernandes finding Fred. And again, as you say, it's very negative. He's gone all the way back to David De Gea, wearing all yellow today. He seems to have shaken that little back problem off as he finds Maguire right on the halfway line. Harry Maguire. Here's Fred and square to Eric Bailly. Tackled by Vardy, but United maintain possession. It's Fernandes getting past Ndidi, and ball in field to Daniel James, who was muscled off the ball by Tielemans. Tielemans has it again. Belgian, who steers it back to Kasper Schmeichel, who lays it out wide to Castagne. It's all rather scruffy at the moment with both teams. Roxon, Gideon, Merry Christmas to you guys. Thank you. You too. I smell a Boxing Day upset today. Leicester City to win, but Fernandes to score for fantasy reasons. Enjoying the spicy commentary live on City FM from East Legon, Accra in Ghana. It's gone out of play on the far side. 17 minutes gone. Still goalless.
I think we've seen already that United are playing a back four. It's definitely four at the back with Lindelof. We've already seen Daniel James, and I think if it carries as it is for United as an attacking unit and it goes beyond half time, he's going to have to make a change. At the moment, as you mentioned earlier, Daniel James is just being pushed aside. It's like watching a schoolboy in a man's game at the moment.
Yeah, he's been a bit lightweight, hasn't he, James? He divides opinion. Of course, he started so well, didn't he, for United at the beginning of last season, but certainly gone off the boil. He's not one of Solskjaer's favourites. Generally, this is only his 8th appearance of the season. He's got a couple of goals, most recently against Leeds United, but doesn't really score enough. Here's Albrighton finding Ndidi for Leicester. Back to Tielemans, who's been probably the star man in the congested midfield at the moment. This is Evans, and scooped forward by Castagne up towards Barnes, who can't quite find Vardy. It's intercepted by Eric Bailly. And the early fizz and crackle of this game has waned a little bit in the last 7 or 8 minutes. Oh dear, that's a late one by Fernandes on Tielemans, who then puts his hands on his hips and looks at Tielemans as if he was faking an injury. Ball into the United box, and Eric Bailly off his shin finds the ball flying out for a corner.
Yeah, and Mike Dean's got it. Mike Dean was within touching distance. If there was anything, Mike Dean would have been there, like a beaver, not knowing which actual card to get out. But he was just there telling him there was nothing really there. He's followed through when he struck the ball as well, on Fernandes. So terrible when you start to see all this going on in the game now.
I agree. First corner of the match goes Leicester City's way. It's going to be an outswinger from James Maddison wearing 10. In it comes, it's high and hanging, it's above Johnny Evans, it's headed away by United and then tidied up by Leicester. Albrighton all the way back to James Justin, who finds Tielemans over on the far side. His ball into Castagne, the Belgian left fullback. Here's Johnny Evans, who's popped up on the left wing and plays a short ball forward towards Jamie Vardy. Now it's Tielemans again. Leicester having all the possession, but they're going backwards at the moment, although Ndidi has swept it nicely out to Mark Albrighton, one of the survivors from that 2010 title triumph for Leicester City. 20 minutes gone now, and Leicester have a free kick inside the Manchester United half, only just inside it. It's going to be Mark Albrighton to deliver the ball. His last goal was on Boxing Day, Mark Albrighton, but it was in 2018. It's 52 games and 2 years since he last scored. He's going to try and set one up here with plenty of blue shirts. The likes of Ndidi and Fofana and Johnny Evans are all up there as Albrighton raises his right hand, swings it away towards the far side. It's headed away firmly by Maguire and then struck through a crowded penalty area. It's hit somebody. It was Tielemans who drove it, and the ball cannoned off and has gone behind. I think it's a Manchester United goal kick. Yes, it hit Harvey Barnes.
Certainly did. I don't think the shot was on target anyway, but at least it was a shot.
Manchester United top scorers in the Premier League away from home, as you'd expect with all the victories they've had. 19 goals. Here's Luke Shaw driving forward down the left-hand side, finds Rashford. Clever ball back to Shaw, who's got his back to goal, but he's managed to find Rashford, whose first touch is poor, and it allows Leicester to clear the ball all the way back to Eric Bailly, midway inside his own half. Here's Lindelof back to Bailly again. He's wearing a wristband on his right arm. Now it's Fred finding Lindelof, who's on the halfway line, pings it forward towards Rashford, but Fofana is there with an astute header which finds Evans. Evans, meanwhile, under pressure from Daniel James, is forced to just clip the ball out of play for a throw-in to Manchester United. Carlos Soyuncu, we've got a picture of wearing a mask, but with that unmistakable shock of hair. We're told he is very close to approaching fitness and may be available for Leicester's game at Crystal Palace. Here's the ball into the box. Rashford scores this time. Missed a header earlier, wasn't going to be denied. 23 minutes played. Leicester City's defence stood still, and Rashford had the simple task of stroking the ball beyond Kasper Schmeichel, and Manchester United have got the lead. Leicester 0, Manchester United 1.
Well, that was something out of nothing, and it was a lucky deflection, to be perfectly honest. Wasn't lucky about the finish, because the way he took it was absolutely perfection, the way he took it, but how the ball got through was just more good luck. And it was definitely, well, it was Fernandes. I do apologise. I didn't realise Fernandes has stuck out a leg. I'm sure that wasn't his intention for it to go like that, but it looked wonderful what he done. But Man United don't score goals unless Fernandes has had a touch or scored it himself.
Yeah, it was, you're right, a little touch by Fernandes, just took it away from the defenders who weren't able to react. It went between two of them, and Rashford is a lovely finish. You're quite right. It's his 13th goal of the season. It's his 50th Premier League goal as well, so that's another landmark reached by Marcus Rashford, MBE, and it's his 5th goal in games against Leicester City. Got the winner at Old Trafford last season when United did the double. So United, who tended to win their away games from a goal behind this season, have gone a goal ahead. It's Harvey Barnes, though, far side, gets the ball in. It's away by Bailly, and comes out to Fred. Fred's rather uneasy. What's he doing there? That's a strange touch, isn't it? You're laughing, Paul.
No, well,
what is he doing?
Well, that's Fred. Yeah, it's just typical of him.
Now the ball played in behind Leicester's back four, but Fofana is there ahead of Daniel James, and here's Justin. So Manchester United, as it stands, will be leapfrogging Leicester City into second place in the Premier League. And Maguire back to De Gea, who seems to be okay, but he's had an awful lot to do in the last few minutes. Keith's Life, regular listener, another beautiful day in Miami. Love the commentary as always. Let's make it a good Christmas and have a massive Manchester United loss and an Arsenal victory. Here's Martial, gets it across the face of goal. It's headed away by Leicester City, but then Tielemans gets in a bit of a tangle, and Leicester eventually clear it. Here's Fred in the centre circle. They're not used to being ahead in away games, Manchester United. It'll be interesting to see how they manage this situation. Seems an odd thing to say, but one of the more extraordinary statistics about them, and indeed the Premier League this season, is that United have gone behind in all 6 of their away games and won them all. That ball's just gone out of play. Basil Onin is listening to us in northern Uganda. Merry Christmas, guys. What on earth is James doing on the pitch? Ollie divides opinion almost as much as that whole Manchester United team. That's Basil in Uganda. Happy Christmas to you too. I know you're not a massive Daniel James fan, are you, Paul?
I just don't see him.
Had a strange game. So
yeah, I just see him as someone who's not going to be a regular. And if you've got to play him, you've got to play him and just keep putting balls in front of him, getting him to stretch teams.
Here's Justin finding Vardy, who's always got a goal in him. He's turned his shot, it's deflected, and in the end it rolls into the obliging gloves of David De Gea, the Manchester United goalkeeper, who doesn't really have to risk his back injury in making that save. It was very straightforward, but Vardy is always looking for a goal, and if you're a Leicester fan, Leicester player, you know that with that particular number 9 on the pitch, there's always going to be something for you regardless of the situation, because his goal scoring record has been so impressive over so many years. Another survivor from 2016, of course. Header is by Fernandes to find Lindelof. Back to Bruno Fernandes again. who pings it forward. It's a useful looking ball, but it's cut out by Justin under pressure from Rashford, and then a touch by Fred, and back it goes to Bailly under pressure from Vardy. Leicester are pressing well at the moment, but United have manoeuvred their way out of harm's way, and Bailly has it inside the 18-yard box. Trevor Welsh, hi to you with your programme in Ireland. Good to have you with us, and all your listeners too. Here's Eric Bailly. And now James back to Lindelof. It is a strange, as you say, configuration down that right hand side, Lindelof and James. Maguire drives it forward long for Manchester United, trying to find Bruno Fernandes. It's bounced in front of him, and will go out of play for a throw-in to Leicester City. 27.5 minutes played. Leicester 0, Manchester United 1. Don't forget, we've got Aston Villa against Crystal Palace coming up. Villa could move up the table potentially as high as 6th if they win that game. They could go above Spurs. Crystal Palace obviously hammered by Liverpool last time out. Will be looking to put that behind them. It's just kept in on the far side by Castagne, but Manchester United give it away in centre midfield. It's come through to Tielemans, and now it's Harvey Barnes. Fred wins it for United. That's a good ball forward to Fernandes, who's got Rashford down the right hand side. It's an uncustomarily poor ball though by Bruno Fernandes, who allows Johnny Evans to get in front of Marcus Rashford, who's by no means quicker than him, but it was a poor ball, and it allowed the Leicester defender to get back and tidy up. Just looking at the goal again. Certainly the touch by Fernandes wasn't intentional, but it did enough to leave all those Leicester defenders rooted to the spot. Rashford read it well and finished it well.
Oh, he put that touch, even like we keep saying, it wasn't meant. It put 3 Leicester players out of the game, because the ball was going nowhere from Daniel James. It was going nowhere.
Yeah, it was going backwards, wasn't it? And he stretched and made something of it. I mean, because it's Bruno Fernandes, you might like to suggest that it was deliberate, because his record with goals and assists has been absolutely astonishing. Since he joined Manchester United, he's contributed so much. He's got 17 goals and 13 assists in 28 Premier League games. That's absolutely incredible. That means he contributes to a goal somehow at least once a game. Here's Luke Shaw driving forward for United, finding Anthony Martial, who's been quiet and is easily tackled by James Justin, and Albrighton trying to get it forward for Leicester, tackled by Fred, who does well. Martial, you mentioned earlier, Paul, he's scored 2 goals in his last 3 games, but I always find him enormously frustrating, because he's so gifted and quick, and he can be a great finisher, but he just doesn't bring it to the game often enough for me.
Well, he's still the same player United signed that many years ago for a package of 50 million, and he hasn't stepped on from there. And the only thing that's happened there is he's just got older, but he's still pulling the same faces, still playing the same kind of games. He's never ever had a consistent run. Yes, he scored goals on about games of 4, 5, 6 maybe games on about scoring, but as a player he doesn't do it. He just doesn't do it on a regular basis. He's not a threat. He's not a threat enough in games. He just shows no great urgency. He's not darting around. That's why everyone likes Cavani, because he plays the game as a centre forward.
Here's Albrighton with a low ball in. Maguire's a little off balance. He stumbles over. He still manages to get it through to Bruno Fernandes as Leicester look to get back on track. Here's Harvey Barnes. Left foot shot. Brilliant goal. Leicester City have equalised just after the half hour, and Harvey Barnes has beaten David De Gea with a really clean and crisp drive from the edge of the penalty area, and it's Leicester City 1, Manchester United 1.
Well, we have to say Harvey Barnes has had a shocking first half. His touch, his decision making, his execution of passes has been really poor. But on the other hand, he got out of jail because Harry Maguire had a comedy moment there. The moment he stopped the ball, it seemed like someone took his boots away and said stand on ice, because he didn't know whether he could stand up or should he just fall over for the sake of it. But when that ball gets to Harvey Barnes, his first thought is get out of my feet and just have a strike, and he strikes it and he's moving away from De Gea. Every time, every inch it's moving, it's going wider and wider, and the sheer power, there was no way that he was going to get there, De Gea.
Yeah, it's a really, really good goal. It's his 7th of the season and his first in the Premier League since he scored against Fulham in November. Harvey Barnes, now an England international, of course, made his debut against Wales in October, so he's had a pretty good end to the year, and he scored a better than pretty good goal there. It was a wonderful strike, and Manchester United's lead only lasted 8 minutes. But we said there'd be goals, and well, they haven't let us down. Here's Kasper Schmeichel driving it away for Leicester City. There's a foul there in centre midfield. Jordan Darrensburg is listening to Sirius XMFC, heading back to Temple, Texas from Louisiana. How about that goal from Rashford? Well, unfortunately, if you're a Manchester United fan, Jordan, they've now been pegged back. But it was an even better goal, actually, from Harvey Barnes. How far is it to that place in Texas from Louisiana, I wonder? They make light of huge distances, of course, in the United States. Leicester, having just got themselves level, now have a corner with 33 minutes played at the King Power Stadium.
I have a little whinge just leaving London.
It's impossible. Americans, they say things like, oh, it's only 3 hours away. I think 3 hours, it's from London to Manchester.
That's stopping off for 2 picnics on the way.
Absolutely. Here's the corner for Leicester. It's an outswinger by Maddison. It's headed away by Rashford. Comes out to Tielemans on the edge of the box. Mike Dean blows his whistle. Some sort of infringement there.
I'll tell you what it was. I'm listening to the way the ball's being struck. I think the ball sounds really pumped up. It's like maybe too hard. But the moment that ball hits the floor, it bounces up overhead height. So the pitches, which they are now, very, very firm. There isn't a lot of give. And that's what done Tielemans in the end, is he let that ball bounce. It went up higher than he expected. So the referee's given a foul for him for foot up.
Yeah, high foot, yeah. Ibo Braide, I think I hope I pronounced Braide. Merry Christmas to you. My darling Manchester United will win. Ibo Braide from Port Harcourt in Nigeria. I love the way the Nigerians and other Africans, they always describe the teams as my darling, which you wouldn't really get English people saying that, I don't think, but it's lovely.
Well, they normally would get a slap from the wife.
Yeah, being unfaithful.
Yeah. Who is this other 11 people you're involved with?
Crossfield ball by Maguire, intercepted by Justin, forward to Wilfried Ndidi, the Nigerian. Talking of Nigerians, playing for his darling Leicester City. Ball is with Castagne on the far side. 10 minutes to go to half time. It's been a decent watch, but it's been a bit of an error. I wouldn't say it's been a sort of object lesson in quality, this game, has it really? It's had moments, but a lot of the play's been quite scruffy.
Well, it has. It had a good start. It had that bit before United scored, and then they get that goal, and then it's been a little bit more about Leicester since that moment, really.
Certainly. Here's Marcus Rashford, though, for Manchester United, just rolling the ball back to Luke Shaw, who's got forward quite a lot down that left-hand side. It's gone all the way back. It's interesting that Harvey Barnes actually is the goal scorer for Leicester. It's his first goal against Manchester United, not the first goal his family have scored, though his dad, Paul, was playing for lowly York City in a game against United in a famous League Cup win back in 1999. Were you involved in that?
Well, let's get back to the game. Looks like it's getting quite exciting.
How many of Barnes Senior's goals were down to you, Paul?
I can't remember, it's so far away, but you have to say, all I can remember
bad result though, wasn't it?
It was a bad result, and he actually won the sponsors man of the match, and he got himself got a race bike given to him.
Did he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Wow. That's very good memory, blimey.
Yeah, he was a good. There were so many good players around in that era and before, but he played for York City.
Yeah.
I just think if his dad was playing, he'd be mostly saying to himself, "Hold on a minute, I could be playing at this level now because of what's needed is not what they've got now."
Free kick to Manchester United. Luke Shaw left-footed delivers. Chance for them. Fernandes is there. And he flicked his head at the ball, but he's flicked it the wrong side of the post. I think Schmeichel would have had it covered. It was a reasonably decent delivery by Luke Shaw, and Fernandes, who is capable in the air. It's not his major suit, of course, but he's capable as a player who can head the odd goal, but he's put that one wide of the post.
Yeah, the ball's hit his right ear. I think that's what he's wincing at more than anything. But I mean, he should have hit the target with that. To be honest, he didn't have to move his head. All he had to do is just put his forehead in towards the ball and head it practically back where it come from.
Yeah, what a wonderful signing Bruno Fernandes has been for United, says Adebare Awodoye from Abuja in Nigeria. Wouldn't disagree with that. I think his impact has been absolutely extraordinary for the club. The amount of goals, the amount of assists, the hop, skip and jump penalties that we all enjoy that he normally scores.
I think you have to look at the biggest thing, the most significant thing is the influence he has had on the team.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. Forget goals, assists. It's the influence he's had on the team, and he's actually improved players around him as well. They've had to improve because he's embarrassed them.
Yeah, he's been absolutely exceptional, and as you say, he leads by example. Here's Tielemans for Leicester, finding Wilfred Ndidi, who scoops it away towards James Justin, who our producer James was telling me is a childhood friend of his and tremendously nice lad who comes from...
There's all these people who just want to be associated with modern players, isn't there?
Here's Marcus Rashford trying to find Martial. Martial just didn't show anything approaching conviction there, did he? Just looked at the ball drift past him and kind of thought, well, never mind, you know. Well, that sums him up, doesn't
he never changed his run.
No,
the ball went into him. He never made one run and tried to make another. It's like virtually, give it to me now and how I want it.
Leicester at the other end. Albrighton strikes it. It hits Harry Maguire. It's been a long time, as we mentioned, since Mark Albrighton scored for Leicester City, 2 years to the day, in fact. Here's Rashford, though, and the free kick has been awarded for a foul on James Maddison, who I do like an awful lot as a player, another who's an England international these days. Hasn't quite got himself into the game, but he's been toppled by Fred there.
I think he's had a little bit of he's watched a little bit of his mate there, who throws himself to the floor, because there wasn't anything from Fred there really. And that initial strike we saw, actually I think it hit Vardy. I think Vardy blocked his teammate's shot.
Yeah, it's possible. 39 minutes have been played at the King Power Stadium. Can either of these teams get themselves in front before we break for half time? Maddison flicks it into the box. Vardy gets a head on it. It's away by McTominay and then poked forward by James. And Dan James is running forward here. Tries to play a crossfield ball to Martial. It's a very good ball. It's Anthony Martial. Once again he's run into James Justin. And once again he's failed to instigate what could have been a very useful Manchester United attack. We've had a couple of one-on-ones between Martial and Justin's won them comprehensively, hands down, hasn't he?
He certainly has, and he's won them without having to have a good fight after. It's virtually, you've won it, you can have it, wait till next time and hope I get it. Seems like the way Martial plays, and I just think sometimes Ollie, I don't know whether he gets too sentimental with people, but Cavani needs a run of games, and there's a perfect opportunity to do it with a player who has scored so many goals in Europe in big games that Martial hasn't even sniffed at. I just don't understand why he's not getting a regular run as Martial gets a run.
Here's Maddison trying to find Harvey Barnes on the left-hand side. Adem says the only time Manchester United score first in an away league match has to result in a loss. Well, possible, fingers crossed. Obviously not a United fan. Come on, you foxes. Enjoying the commentary live in La Paz in Ghana. We've also got Samson Comey loving the broadcast at my duty post at Police Hospital in Accra in Ghana. Merry Xmas to the team. Merry Christmas to you too, Samson. We had you the other week, didn't we? Just doing all that great work at the Police Hospital. Well done. And quite a lot of people, not just football commentators, have to work on Boxing Day. We don't really mind that much, do we, Paul? Just escape from the madness that is Christmas.
Absolutely correct.
You must have enjoyed it. What was it like as a player, though? Because as a player, I mean, you've got kids, probably never really got the chance to sort of have a proper Christmas, did you? Because you were in a hotel, presumably.
Yeah. We was attuned to it, and we just grew used to it. It's just like even now, come out and do it. I'm quite happy to do it, and I think there'll be a lot of current and there's ex-pros who are all exactly the same, who enjoy coming out. I mean, more than anything, you enjoy going to a Boxing Day game or a game over. It's a great atmosphere. It's just something that you don't get with other games, that extra different kind of feeling. But we have to say at this moment in time, it's still quite, it is good to watch football, but I'm quite sure there's a lot of people who would maybe look and think they could be doing other things. Yeah, maybe. We've got a few ex-pros who are avoiding Christmas. Paul Mortimer will be later with Villa against Palace, then Kev Watson with expert analysis on Arsenal against Chelsea, and Dave Kitson watching Manchester City against Newcastle. 3 minutes to go to half-time at Leicester. One apiece, and finally poised. I suppose a draw would be quite a good result for Liverpool. It would see neither of these two teams get too close to them at the top of the table. As it stands, Leicester would have 28, Manchester United 27, Everton 26, Chelsea and Tottenham 25, Southampton 24, City 23, 21, 20. So it goes. It's incredible. Apart from Tottenham and Chelsea, as it stands, the teams are all separated by 1 point in sequence. It's a mathematician's dream, isn't it? Martial's won a free kick inside his own half. Opportunity for Manchester United to get it forward and maybe get a last chance before half-time. Here's an interesting tweet. Franklin, please tell United to bring James Ward-Prowse in from Southampton to have a dead ball specialist. Compliments and good job, guys, from Port Harcourt in Nigeria. I do like Ward-Prowse. Excellent player. And he's good from free kicks too. So do you think they should open up a position on the bench for your set-piece specialist? Just bring him on for that. Like a goal kicker in American football. Scuffed ball by Fernandes is intercepted. In goes Lindelof. It's come off Barnes. Manchester United will have a throw-in on the far side, 15 yards from the corner flag. And watch the quick one is the cry from Leicester. It's not going to be taken quickly by Lindelof, but he's found Fernandes back again, but it's wasted by United. The ball's gone out of play. Fernandes is insisting and beseeching the assistant referee and saying it came off a Leicester player, but it's fallen on deaf ears. Mickey, Merry Christmas, guys, listening in Port Harcourt in Nigeria. I like the fact that Vardy is always quiet until he scores, hoping he does what he knows how to do best. He hasn't had that many opportunities. Had an early one, Vardy, but you're absolutely right. I mean, he's often the player who has the fewest touches on the pitch, but equally will come up with a couple of goals as well. And he's 2 currently behind Mo Salah, who's the leading scorer after his couple against Crystal Palace for Liverpool. Ball's gone out of play again. We're in the last minute of the first half. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wearing a thick padded grey Manchester United jacket is hunched back in his seat with his arms folded. I think a behavioural psychologist would tell you that suggests he's not very happy. He's all sort of bundled up. Here's Shaw with the throw. Don't think there's going to be too much time added at the end of the half. Shaw tries to find Fernandes. Well read by Fofana. And Albrighton back to Justin. It comes off the heel of Fernandes. We're just going to have a minute added on. We haven't seen the physios, thankfully. So it's a sort of perfunctory 1 minute at the end of the first half.
Here's James Maddison, goes forward but forgets to take the ball with him. Maguire, former Leicester City man, of course. Made 76 appearances for the Foxes after joining them from Sheffield United. Bruno Fernandes has been penalised for a foul in midfield, and again is now then what's he done there? It looks like he's got yellow carded for. He didn't think that the foul should have been given against him, and then he just stood in front of the player who was taking it and blocked him off. And I know Mike Dean is one of the more fussy referees, but you can't really argue with that as a yellow, can you? It's ridiculous.
No, you're supposed going at it, but you still look. I think that was big Johnny Evans as well. I expected more from the big Northern Irish man, really, just to actually just ask the question rather than fall on the floor.
Yeah. Well, that's the last action of a first half, which saw Manchester United, unusually for them, go in front in an away game. It was Marcus Rashford who'd spurned a glorious chance earlier, finishing very, very competently indeed after a little touch from Fernandes, but the lead only lasted 8 minutes. Just after the half hour, Harvey Barnes with an absolute thunderbolt of a left foot shot to bring Leicester level. At half time at the King Power on Boxing Day, it's Leicester City 1, Manchester United 1 on Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at TalkSport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to TalkSport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new TalkSport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, who hands up who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4 only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double O duo of the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
Welcome back. All square at half-time at the King Power Stadium. here is Fernandes, swirling it in, chance for Rashford. Oh, he's missed a sitter. What a chance for Manchester United. Rashford can't believe he's headed that over the bar. It was put on a plate for him by Fernandes. He was onside.
Marcus Rashford has to be better. That's one of the biggest problems of his game. He does not finish off enough opportunities given to him.
Here's the ball into the box. Rashford scores this time. Missed a header earlier, wasn't going to be denied. 23 minutes played. Leicester City's defence stood still, and Rashford had the simple task of stroking the ball beyond Kasper Schmeichel.
That was something out of nothing, and it was a lucky deflection, to be perfectly honest. He wasn't lucky about the finish, because the way he took it was absolutely perfection, the way he took it.
Here's Harvey Barnes, left foot shot, brilliant goal. Leicester City have equalised just after the half hour, and Harvey Barnes has beaten David De Gea with a really clean and crisp drive from the edge of the penalty area.
Maguire had a comedy moment there. The moment he stopped the ball, it seemed like someone took his boots away and said, stand on ice.
Leicester City 1, Manchester United 1. Well, it's been a funny old game, really. There's been moments of quality, moments of comedy, moments of counter-attacking play, and moments of stodge in midfield. So I suppose, Paul, at the end of all that, maybe 1-1 is a fair reflection of the way we are.
I would say it is, really, at this moment in time. There's no team that's outstanding. There's both teams have got players who have not got into the game, players you would expect to see more of, more involvement, but I think the onus is on Manchester United how they deal with this situation, because everyone has seen them come from behind in away games. Now, when they've got themselves in front, they've conceded one, are they going to show a little bit more guts and go on and take the game on and go and win it? And then people just might go a little bit more serious about them if they can go and dig in and go and bring something back from Leicester City.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary statistic. They've been behind in all of the 6 games that they've won away from home in the Premier League this season. I mean, surely they haven't set out to do that. Any team would rather go in front than go behind.
That's right. Yeah, but then trying to, when you haven't done it and you haven't been in front of an away game, even doesn't matter the most experienced player, the most experienced team, you still need that practice of being in front and how you suddenly manage that game when you're in front, how you actually go about dealing with it. Are you going to go straight out and look for a game or look for another goal? Are you going to go and try and control the game and steady it, get it back to the tempo you want and then go again? United didn't really do that. They were very jittery, the game was jittery, and then lo and behold, Leicester go and get what really in theory they deserve, because they didn't deserve to go in at half time 1 goal down.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose at the moment Liverpool fans will be relatively happy, won't they? Leicester would be 3 points behind the United 4, ahead of course the Reds at home to West Bromwich Albion, which is a game you'd expect them to win.
Yeah, without a doubt. You can't see them not beating West Bromwich Albion, and they will be quite content in the way that this game is going at this moment in time. But we have to remember as well, as much as Liverpool winning games and what I believe they are the best team in the league, they've still got problems there, and in their first halves have been very poor. They gave away a lot of good opportunities to Crystal Palace with their poor defending from their fullbacks. Neither of them are good positionally, so Liverpool still have to work hard themselves to start really earning the right.
And the flip side of the coin, I suppose, is, Leicester City currently second, United third. They're going to be serious title contenders. They need to win games like this, don't they?
They do. That's where you judge yourself for winning those games. They're the ones that really do fix you in a certain area of the table when you play the teams who you're fighting for those spots with. So yes, this game both sides want a draw. Then mostly thinks of, that will do, but in theory for both of them it doesn't, if they really want to actually set themselves in cement in that area of the league table.
Yeah, absolutely. Games coming thick and fast on this Boxing Day. At the conclusion of this one, we'll bring you Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. Then it's the game's biggest game, a big derby, North London against West London, Arsenal against Chelsea with Barry Swain and Kevin Watson. We heard from Mikel Arteta before kick-off. Let's hear from Frank Lampard this time, who says that when he was a player, the Chelsea-Arsenal game was always a massive draw.
I don't think it gives extra incentive because there's always been that. I felt that as a player, we had a real rivalry. When I joined at Chelsea, Arsenal had the upper hand on us, had won league titles before I came here, and as we managed to change that tide a lot, there was obviously clear rivalry, as you would expect with London teams anyway, and I enjoyed that side of it. As long as it's controlled and carried out in the right way, which I think it was for most of the time. So I think that rivalry remains. My role now is different. I'm not on the pitch. The players have to play with passion, controlled passion, because that's what a derby brings.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. And then it's Manchester City against Newcastle. We'll also bring you Fulham Southampton, which kicks off at 3 o'clock. And to round it all off, Sheffield United down at the bottom against Everton, who are much improved. Do you see any changes early in the second half from either manager? We talked about Martial being lacklustre and the potential for perhaps Edinson Cavani to come on early.
We can always look at that one, to be honest, because everyone will look at it and think about it because it makes sense, to be honest. You'll get more from him, and as you saw the other day, he didn't have a great game against Everton, but he scored a great goal. He scored a centre forwards or a finisher's kind of goal, something which it was wonderful just to actually see that. I still look at Daniel James and I'm saying they can improve in that area because it needs help going forward in that right hand side, because Lindelof just hasn't got it. Lindelof is a duck out of water at the moment in time. He just needs that little bit of help out there, someone talking to him to help him through that game. That's how he needs help whenever he's playing, Lindelof. So I think Daniel James has to be a change if they're going to make one on that right hand side. Yeah, United got a better bench, I think, than Leicester. Mason Greenwood is on it as well, Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard as well, who scored in that win against Leicester last season in May. I imagine Brendan Rodgers will be fairly happy though, and they went behind, but didn't take them too long to get back level. That's right. I mean, even though you look at some of the players on that Leicester bench, and you have to say Perez, who's a good goal scorer, who was a regular at one point, he's just obviously fallen out a little bit, so he mostly has something to prove as well. So there's enough there. I mean, I don't think you can actually turn around and jump and say, you look at the names and it's great Manchester United bench, but a lot of them sitting on the bench because they haven't been consistent over enough times, and maybe that could be down to they haven't played enough, but they've still got points to prove on both benches. Yeah, absolutely. We'll find out if there's going to be any half-time substitution in just a moment, because we'll be back with the whole of the second half on Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated TalkSport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new TalkSport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on TalkSport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksby and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksby and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leicester City against Manchester United from the King Power Stadium. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Manchester United and England fullback, Paul Parker. This is Premier League Live. You join us with the two teams back out in the middle, Leicester in blue, Manchester United in red and white. Both teams could benefit enormously from a victory here, but it's level at the interval. Leicester currently second, Manchester United currently third. Leicester have lost 8 of their last 9 Premier League games against Manchester United, and Harvey Barnes' goal was the first time they'd scored against them in 3 meetings. We're underway with Leicester taking the kick-off and launching the ball long. It's gone away with one bounce into the corner, rather like a rugby fly half, clearing for touch. Let me bring you the two teams. No changes at half-time. Manchester United have Leicester have Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Back four is James Justin, Wesley Fofana, Johnny Evans and Timothy Castagne. Then it's Wilfred Ndidi and Yuri Tielemans in front of Mark Albrighton, James Maddison and goalscorer Harvey Barnes. Up front, of course, Jamie Vardy. Manchester United have David De Gea in goal. He is out for the second half, although he seemed to twinge his back early in the first, but he seems okay. Victor Lindelof, Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire form a back three with wing-backs Luke Shaw and perhaps more surprisingly Daniel James. Between them, Scott McTominay and Fred. Then it's Anthony Martial, Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford who got the goal to put Manchester United ahead. And that was an unusual situation for United, who've won all their 6 away games from behind this season. And with that goal lead, they didn't go on and add to it. They allowed Barnes to score a brilliant goal. And that is why we are level at the second half period. The last Boxing Day game between these two sides was 82 years ago in 1938. Even me and Paul weren't born then. Leicester won by 3-0. But as I mentioned, they don't have a good record. They've lost 4 of the last 5 in all competitions. They've lost 8 of their last 9 against Manchester United, was what I meant to say. But here's Bruno Fernandes forward towards Marcus Rashford, who gets there ahead of James Justin, but Justin makes another good challenge. It comes back to Luke Shaw. Shaw tries to find a way past Albrighton. Albrighton does well to wrestle the ball away from Rashford, but Rashford tigerishly keeps it, and then with quick feet keeps going forward. It's Marcus Rashford trying to find Martial. Again, to me it looked lacklustre from Martial. Paul, I know we've had a bit of a go at him this afternoon, but as Leicester get the ball forward in towards Vardy, Vardy has barely had a sight of goal other than that toe poke over the top very early on in the first half. Here's Eric Bailly, the one change pre-kick-off for Manchester United, replacing Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's picked up an injury. This is Harvey Barnes, scorer of a terrific goal in the first half, finding Tielemans. Thought about a shot. Instead, it's come out wide to Albrighton. Albrighton trying to get past Shaw. Now it's Tielemans, tackled by Fred. The ball goes out of play for a throw-in on the far side. Throw into Leicester City, midway inside the Manchester United half. Tielemans chests it down. Justin can't find the right pass, and United then give it away, and it's Ndidi forward for Barnes for Leicester, just wriggling away from Lindelof. Good play by Harvey Barnes. He's found a man out wide. It's Albrighton, and then Tielemans with the swirling ball in. Maddison just toe pokes it back. It's picked up by Ndidi. Back out to Albrighton again. Shaw does well though to pinch the ball and find Rashford towards Martial with a clever dummy. Here's Dan James. It's 2 against 1 if he can find Bruno Fernandes, but he can't. It's intercepted by Wesley Fofana. Now that was a real opening for United.
It certainly was as well, and it was good work initially by Fernandes. Let it go there. Martial lets it run to Dan James, and his decision on the timing of the pass could have been at fault, but it doesn't go through. Then you just see him at the end where he could have kept possession. He decides to try and throw himself to the floor, and he ends up giving away a throw-in.
Yeah, it was disappointing for United. I'd say if that pass had been right, then Fernandes was making good ground down the inside left channel. Here's Castagne. It finds its way to Jamie Vardy. Vardy towards Barnes, intercepted by Bailly, who plays it back to De Gea, who swings his right boot and hoists the ball up beyond halfway. Headed back by Tielemans to Fofana. Good ball out of defence. He really is a cultured centre-half, Wesley Fofana, not just his defending but the way he distributes the ball too. Here's Albrighton. James Justin with the break down the flank. It's intercepted by Shaw, who scampers out of the 18-yard box and finds James, who then can't control it and loses it to Harvey Barnes. Barnes looking for Vardy. Vardy having to come wide to collect the ball, and just will knock it short to Tielemans. Now it's Castagne, the Belgian formerly of Atalanta in Italy. 5 minutes gone in the second half, 1 apiece. Rashford for United, Barnes for Leicester. Here's Castagne again. Almost gave it away, but Leicester have got it forward, and Barnes has got away from Bailly here, and he's found Vardy. Vardy wide on the left-hand side, inside the Manchester United penalty area. Tries to lay it back to Ndidi, but it was intercepted on the edge of the box by Fred. But Leicester are asking all the questions at the moment. This is Tielemans in centre midfield, finding Castagne. Further forward to Vardy, who's out wide again, tries to play a 1-2 with Barnes, doesn't come off. Lindelof has tidied up, and Bailly will clear it, but still Manchester United can't get out of their own half. Tielemans now finding Maddison. Maddison gives it away rather cheaply, and Daniel James finds Fred. Fred caught in possession, but the bounce is fortunate. And then it hits Bailly on the hand. I think he was raising his hand to gesticulate something.
Absolutely correct.
It was outside the box. It's a strange one. Thank goodness for United it wasn't inside the area.
I don't know what Fred was doing. Why was Fred going back? There was no threat he was going to go back, but he was putting the ball in the air to his goalkeeper, making it as difficult as possible for him. And poor old Bailly, he was just standing there pointing, suggesting he was put the ball out to the left back, give it to Luke Shaw. And what does Fred do? No, I'll pass your hand.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but well, it's gifted Leicester a free kick in a very useful position. It looks to me as if James Maddison has his eyes on this one. He's just putting the ball down. It's only 3 yards outside the penalty area, just to the left of centre as Leicester City attack. David De Gea organising his defensive wall. James Maddison has had a pretty quiet game so far, but he is a dab hand at these situations, or can be. We've had 7 minutes of the second half, and Leicester City have a real opportunity here to get themselves in front. You could say it's almost a perfect position to hoist the ball up and over. Fred is standing behind the wall in case they jump, and Maddison goes low, as is the current trend. Mike Dean steps back, and James Maddison attempts to get Leicester City 2-1 up. Just a short run up, and a curler. It deflects off the wall. It's gone behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's just bizarre, that free kick in the end, really. I think it come off Harry Maguire. No, it doesn't. It comes off Marcus Rashford. But I mean, really, when we talk about Leicester, the way they've been so far, their two main players haven't been in the game, and that's Maddison and Vardy. So if they could introduce those two, what a difference that could maybe make to Leicester.
Well, Manchester United have introduced Paul Pogba early in the second half, so he's on for Daniel James as Maddison prepares to take this corner. It's going to be an in-swinger. No, it's not. It's going to be hit diagonally out towards Castagne, who plays a poor ball into the box, which is dealt with by Marcus Rashford. So off goes Daniel James, and on comes Paul Pogba as Fernandes is caught from behind there by James Maddison. He pulls Fernandes to his feet, but he's incurred the displeasure of Mike Dean. It's going to be a yellow card for James Maddison.
Well, that sums up James Maddison's game so far. It was totally needless what he'd done there. The team were in a comfortable position, players retreating, players there already, so I don't know why he's dived in and felt he had to clip the ankle of Fernandes, because all Fernandes was going to do, it wasn't going to be a match-winning pass.
It's a free kick to United, which goes back to Eric Bailly, and United with a slow build-up at the moment. Bruno Fernandes was booked in the first half for Manchester United, so that's one booking apiece for the two teams. We're almost up to 10 minutes of the second half played. Joe Ely's with us as ever. John Paul, happy Boxing Day from Indiana, a highlight of winter with a full day of proper football. Excellent crisp commentary as ever on the first shift, John. Thank you very much indeed, Joe. Happy Christmas to you and yours over there in the United States of America. Don of Port Harcourt says Cavani and Pogba need to enter this match. Pogba is on now. James and Martial should be subbed. So afraid because it's looking like a Vardy winner. He's not made any impact yet. Loving your commentary, listening in Port Harcourt. I agree with you about Vardy. The fact that he's not involved in a game for him is almost irrelevant, isn't it? It really doesn't matter. Here's Fred trying to get it through. Leicester clear it. They've been the better team in the second half. Man United haven't really threatened Kasper Schmeichel's goal in any way, shape or form. Here's Fernandes. Might now though over towards Martial, who's beaten in the air by Justin. Justin's had a really good game. Right back for Leicester City. The ball just bounces and bobbles out of play. Anipa, the commentary is crystal clear with vivid imagery. I'm glad to hear that. Feels like I'm seated next to my TV set. Merry Christmas to the team. Anipa is in West Hills Mall, Accra in Ghana. Merry Christmas to you too. Glad you're enjoying it. Here's Paul Pogba.
I think we have to say that United quite enjoy Leicester having a lot of the ball. They want Leicester to have a little bit more than them so they can counter-attack. The problem is that when they've had the opportunities, they've not been good enough in the counter-attacking side of things, as we've kind of seen there. Luke Shaw has let himself down by having more ideas about what he's going to do with it before he gets hold of it.
Yeah, they've been lacklustre, certainly the second half. United. Sheddy says Fred can be super annoying. How are you a midfielder and constantly passing the ball back? It's ridiculous. It could easily have been a penalty with that atrocity of a pass, talking about the one that hit Bailly on the hand. I agree with that. It was strange, wasn't it? Bailly was basically saying to him, get it over there, and instead of getting it over there, he hit it straight onto his pointing left hand. It was strange. Here's Vardy, who claims he was pulled back. Mike Dean blows his whistle. It's a free kick to Leicester City. We've got 57 minutes on the clock. Leicester have lost 2 of their last 3 home games against Fulham and against Everton. Only 9 of their 27 points have come at the King Power Stadium, where they've already lost as many this season at home as they did in the whole of last season. 4 defeats. They're the only team, Leicester, in the Premier League who haven't drawn yet. 9 wins and 5 defeats. So,
but even then, John, you would come out and say for Leicester to lose games at home to Everton and Fulham.
Well, Fulham in particular. Yeah. Everton played well, I think, in their win, but the Fulham game was a bit of an aberration considering Fulham's perilous position at the time. Fulham are in action later today, 3 o'clock kickoff against Southampton, who are in such brilliant form, of course, under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Here's Barnes clipping it in towards Vardy. Doesn't quite reach him, but it'll be knocked back into Vardy now. Vardy trying to find space for a shot at goal. Has that crossed the line for a Leicester corner? It has. And they'll have an opportunity here from a set piece. Vardy getting more involved in the second half. That ball was nowhere near him, but when it came back to him, he cleverly tried to get it past Fred. Fred stuck out his left boot and it's gone behind for a Leicester City corner.
Again, that was another pass on the inside of Lindelof, who gets caught because he just hasn't got that change or that turn of pace to react.
Leicester's fourth corner. Manchester United haven't had one yet. Haven't made anything with them yet. It's Maddison with an outswinger this time, high and hanging again. There's Evans. He'd have loved to have scored against his former club, but it brushed off his head. It's kept in on the near side by Tielemans, who steers it back to Castagne. Square ball by him, finds Albrighton into the United box, away by McTominay, and then Fred a bit casual, and Leicester come again. Good tackle though by Luke Shaw. Shaw springing out of defence and nudging it across towards Bruno Fernandes. We've seen little or nothing from United as an attacking force in this second half, and we won't hear because Fernandes' through ball is intercepted. Referee plays play on. Here's Rashford. Chance for Rashford. Brilliant save by Kasper Schmeichel. Put out his right hand and Martial then miskicks as the ball comes back in for Fernandes. That was a real chance for Marcus Rashford. He hit it pretty well in truth, and it was an absolute fantastic save. But here's Fernandes inside the box, goes round one challenge, and then is tackled by a brilliant backtracking intervention from Mark Albrighton. It was all having there in the Leicester half for just a moment, but what a save by Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, for somebody who's done nothing for a long time, that comes out of nothing. Tielemans and McTominay get involved with a squabble with each other and both forgot about the football. When the game carries on, it ends up at Marcus Rashford's feet, and again he's 1 against 1 with a goalkeeper, and he goes quite high, and it's reasonably close to Kasper, and it's a good right hand. But again, could I say, as a non-goal scorer, he's got to be doing better in those circumstances when they don't arise too often, as they aren't for Manchester United this moment in time.
Well, he's had 3 clear-cut opportunities, Rashford. He scored 1. He missed a sitter of a header inside the opening minute, and he might feel he should have done better there. I agree with you. Had it gone harder and low, I don't think Schmeichel would have saved it. Here's Rashford again.
Offside.
That's another brilliant ball. It's Martial. Is he onside? He's found the net. Is it going to count?
No,
it isn't.
You could see by the reactions of the players, it wasn't. They stopped running, didn't even bother running and chasing it down.
It's he's definitely off, isn't there? There's no issue about that VAR wise. It's clearly an offside, correctly spotted, and of course the problem now, I don't say it's a problem, but linesmen are told not to raise their flag. Oh, goodness only knows why VAR is treating us to stripes. So we all know it's on. We all know it's offside.
Yeah. Well,
what is Mike Dean doing here?
I've got no idea.
Surely he's not going to look at the monitor, is he?
No, please tell me.
Oh no, we've got decision offside. Right. Utterly pointless exercise that was, Paul. You knew it was offside before he even got anywhere near the goal.
But all I'm doing is I'm reading footballers and their reactions to things, and that's all it is, which really in theory should be quite simple. The referee should be able to see that and judge it off of that.
Well, I think that, to be fair to the assistant referee, he didn't raise his flag because he's told not to until the passage of players has been completed, so he did his job correctly.
But the players never...
Why we needed to VAR that, goodness only knows.
But the players didn't even bother going with the play. They said, go on, we're not even going to bother chasing it. It's for you to have to stick your flag up.
Yeah, Martial knew he was offside when he put it in the net. Here's Bailly, back to McTominay. McTominay finds Bruno Fernandes, right-hand side, crosses too close to Fofana, who once again has impressed me for Leicester. Ball up to halfway by the Foxes. Vardy gets his head on it and then tumbles over McTominay. He stayed on the deck, Vardy, but he's up now. Fernandes plays a really good ball over towards Luke Shaw on the far side for United, trying to bring Pogba into play. Pogba's 1-2 attempt with Shaw doesn't work, but there's a foul given against Shaw, was it?
No.
I thought the Leicester player fell over there, Albrighton, but the referee thought otherwise. we're just looking at it again. What's it look like off the plums? Nowhere near it.
I know. It's just amazing. You touch a player, you just touch him just so you don't run into the back of him, and the moment you touch the middle of his back, your legs crumble.
I don't think he even did that, did he? It must have been his breath.
Yeah.
It was strange. Anyway, Leicester got a free kick. Carol, as ever, is with us. Hi to you. Listening from a chilly 4-degree morning in Florida's Gulf Coast. Thanks for the great comment. I'm quite secretly pleased that it's not very sunny in Florida, because every time you send us a picture, there's always some glorious sunshine scene. It makes us feel cold, so we're feeling quite warm. But mind you, you've got an absolutely magnificent sunrise there above the palm trees. Looks absolutely brilliant. Happy Christmas to you, Carol. Stephen Eschen, Manchester United play without any tenacity. They look too ordinary. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. That's Kwadjo from Oldashongman in Accra. Well, they're coming forward at the moment after a very quiet opening to the half. We've had 64 minutes at the King Power. Rashford is dispossessed and Leicester come away with it. It's Harvey Barnes, their goal scorer, down the left-hand side. It's a good positive run by Barnes, and he's found Vardy. Back to Barnes again. Barnes across towards Maddison. Would have been a really good goal if that had reached Maddison, then he tapped it in, but he didn't. And Manchester United survive. An excellent counter by Leicester.
Yeah, it started from Martial not doing his job in keeping the ball, and it's just about Harvey Barnes. He runs and he keeps going. McTominay ball watches, sloppy, and I just think Maddison's run was just too straight in the end, and he couldn't recorrect his position because he ran so straight.
Well, we've got a problem here with Victor Lindelof down nursing an injury. It's the only real stoppage we've had in the game so far. He's up to his feet. Manchester United 19 points from the last 7 games. That's the best current record in the Premier League. They're going to make a substitution in just a moment. Looks like Axel Tuanzebe may well have to come on to replace Victor Lindelof as the Leicester players get the opportunity to take a break. Lindelof, the Swedish international, is shaking his head as he hobbles off the field, which suggests that he's probably his race is run. Scored against Leeds last time out. It was only his 3rd ever Premier League goal, and it is Axel Tuanzebe who comes on for Manchester United, the 22-year-old Congolese born, but his family moved to Greater Manchester when he was just a 3-year-old. So that's 2 subs for United so far. Pogba and Tuanzebe are both on the field, one tactical, one not, as Lindelof limps off to get treatment. Leicester have a throw-in by the corner flag. Justin takes, Albrighton hooks it, but David De Gea is very comfortably out at his near post just to gather that one as it dropped into his gloves. Here's Pogba finding Fred just drifting away to Fernandes, and then continuing his run, shadowed by Albrighton. Fred tries to keep the ball in play, doesn't do so. Albrighton's been very, very hard working for Leicester City today.
That's why he's playing there. He's just efficient. They know what he's going to do. They know what he's going to do. Everything is going to be correct. He's like their version of James Milner for Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely. Ball in by Fernandes towards Rashford, headed away by Johnny Evans, and then Schmeichel comes sprinting out to gather the ball just before it pops out of his 18-yard box. I agree with you about Mark Albrighton. Fantastic pro. As I mentioned before, he's got a Premier League winners medal with Leicester 2016, 3 years after Manchester United last won it. Not won it, of course, since the days of Sir Alex Ferguson. Only 3 trophies in 7 seasons for United. And you mentioned about winning the League Cup. I mean, for all the brickbats that Jose Mourinho got when he was at United, he did bring them a League Cup success and a Europa League title, which is not to be sniffed at. Here's Johnny Evans midway inside the second half. It's still Manchester United, Leicester 1, Manchester United 1, and then Maddison tries to scoop it forward to Vardy. Even Vardy's not quick enough to get to that one as De Gea comes out, bowls it quickly underarm for Manchester United. Has become a little bit more end-to-end this game now as Scott McTominay, we won't forget last weekend in a hurry with those 2 quick-fire goals. Pogba loses possession. Fofana comes out of defence. He's continued his run. Fofana. Here's Maddison finding Vardy. Vardy out to Harvey Barnes, who equalised in the 31st minute after United had taken the lead in the 23rd. Maddison out wide to James Justin. Justin controls neatly and finds Mark Albrighton. Albrighton's cross looks long to me, and it bounces out of play for a Manchester United goal kick. It's still anyone's game though, isn't it? Because neither side have really got on top of things in the second half. They both had spells. Leicester probably overall slightly the better, but with 22 minutes plus left, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, well, Leicester are grabbing hold of possession. Even Leicester don't really want the possession that much. When you've got someone like Vardy who can springboard off the back of other teams having the ball, you don't want it. Manchester United don't really want it either. They're not a team who thrive on great ball retention. So the game at the moment is two teams who are not fighting for the ball as such, but hoping that something goes their way. At the moment, the scoreline suggests really what the game's about, a draw.
Yeah, Pogba, after a little tenacious run forward, has been brought down by Wilfred Ndidi. It's a free kick to Manchester United. And Harry Maguire is among those who've gone up to try and add something, potentially get a goal against his former club. He actually scored in this fixture for Leicester a few years ago in a 2-2 draw against Man U. Here's Luke Shaw's delivery. Up goes Maguire, and it wasn't far away. The Manchester United captain against his former club, heading over the crossbar. Good delivery by Shaw. He was up highest. He just couldn't quite get above the ball and direct his header downwards, but it wasn't too far over.
And I must say, every time Harry Maguire heads the ball in the opponent's box, there's more chance of him missing the target, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't really hit the target a lot for someone who is very big and obviously big, and he just doesn't win enough and get him on target.
Fair to say you're not a massive fan of Harry Maguire.
I think he's done very, very well to be where he is, to be honest. I think he's surprised himself as well.
Well, yeah, he's another one who probably doesn't quite justify the fee. World's most expensive defender. And he got up there and couldn't get enough direction on the header to trouble Kasper Schmeichel. We're inside the last 20 minutes at the King Power Stadium. The Watt at Hawksey 24. Marshall has been having a masterclass. I assume that your tongue is very firmly in your cheek when you say that. Here's Schmeichel clearing. Maguire gets his head to the ball. It drops for Eric Bailly, who finds Fernandes in the centre circle. He found Tuanzebe, the young substitute who's just come on for Manchester United, still just 22 years of age. Fernandes forward to McTominay. McTominay is dispossessed and the ball bounces back to Kasper Schmeichel. Mukhtar Eliasu, crystal clear commentary, listening from Kotoka International Airport in Accra in Ghana. El Matador will score the winner, trust me, for a 2-1 win for Manchester United. Are you at the airport working, or are you heading off somewhere? I presume you mean Edison Cavani as El Matador. Here's El Maddison getting it out wide to Albrighton. Albrighton clips the crossing, and again it's a disappointing one. I mean, we've talked about his qualities defensively, Albright, but he's had a couple of good opportunities to cross in the last 5 minutes or so, and both of them have ended up a long way beyond the far post.
Well, he stepped inside in his weaker foot, and everyone's at the near post. No one's round the far post. Vardy has just gone across the near post. He's the one up front, so people should react, and of where Vardy is, they don't really want to be in that area. I will say, though, that here it comes. I was about to say, if he wants to win the game, Ollie, he has to be making this substitution. It's blatantly obvious. He has to make it, because if he doesn't, and he doesn't get enough out of the game, people are going to question him again.
Do you know, I would question why he's not starting Cavani.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Fitness, can it?
I'm with you on that one. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Quality. I love him as a player. His movement's extraordinary. He's fantastic finishers. We saw at Goodison on Wednesday night. Anyway, he's about to come on. Pogba has played a good ball forward to Rashford. Left-hand side as United attack. but the flag's gone up against Marcus Rashford. It's going to be a free kick to Leicester for that particular offside. Edinson Cavani's career record really speaks for itself. 588 senior club appearances, 357 goals. If you add in the 50 he scored for Uruguay, that takes him over 400 goals in a career, and he's about to come on now. He got the goal that ended a rather stale encounter in the League Cup in midweek. A brilliant goal it was too. Martial was able to add to it just at the end to make it 2-0 for United, who play City in the semi-finals of the League Cup. Before that they entertain Wolves and then Villa. They've also got Watford at home in the third round of the FA Cup. And then make a note in your diary, January the 17th, Liverpool go to Anfield, so Manchester United go to Anfield to play Liverpool. Here's Pogba coming forward against Leicester. Rather languid cross is easily defended by Leicester City, and the whistle is blown because James Justin has gone down injured. Mukhtar Eliassu is at the airport waiting for a relative from Cyprus. Great commentary, I must say. I'm glad that sitting at the airport, which can be one of the dullest experiences anyone can have, is being enlivened by you listening to our commentary. It's good to provide a public service in that sense as well. Pogba is now on the side of the field, but they're just taking a break for a drink while James Justin gets himself sorted out, the Leicester City fullback, which means that Edinson Cavani will now come on. That goal at Goodison was his fourth for Manchester United in 12 appearances, and it is Anthony Martial who, well, we'd have to say 5 out of 10, Paul, if we're being generous, for Martial.
I think so. He just hasn't had any involvement. There's nothing that he's been involved in what was good at the end, to be perfectly honest. It's just one of those games you say to yourself, any kind of decent performance by Cavani, whatever he does, he deserves another game. He needs to start games before people can start even thinking about criticising him.
He's on to a mistake potentially by Schmeichel, and he's kept the ball in play. That's how lively Cavani is. We talked about Martial being lacklustre. Well, Cavani was straight onto that. He had no right to win it, and he did. Great tackle though. Pogba toe pokes it forward. It's intercepted by Tielemans, who's fouled by Fernandes. All rather scruffy, but you know, I'm sure it's not actually true, but at times Martial doesn't look interested. Cavani always looks interested, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. That's Martial, I think, is one of those. You look at him and you say to yourself, you should be sitting around a table, some kind of table around Las Vegas or something, shouldn't you? Just sitting there holding cards in your hands, and people are trying to read you, and you know you're going to yourself, I know you're never going to read this face. You've got no idea what I'm thinking. Because Olin Gooder hasn't got any idea what Martial's thinking.
No, it's a strange one. I mean, I've always been a huge Cavani fan. I remember him from the 2010 World Cup, him and Suarez tearing it up in that one. Suarez is the only player Uruguay who scored more goals than Cavani at international level, but half a century of international goals is not bad. Here's Leicester trying to come forward with Albrighton, who flicks it forward. It's a good ball to Vardy. Vardy's got support here from Justin. Justin's cross is intercepted, and Luke Shaw pushes it forward to Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes trying to play Rashford in. Well read though by Castagne, who intercepts. This is anyone's game. We're into the last 14 minutes of it. Justin on the far side finds Albrighton. Justin again for Leicester City. Remember that the winners, if there is one, will take themselves closer to Liverpool. It will be 1 point for Leicester if they win. Level. Yes, 1 point for Leicester and 2 points for Manchester United from the current leaders. If somebody can get, and it probably will be, just one goal needed to win this game at the King Power. Don't forget, we've got Aston Villa against Crystal Palace coming up with Toby Gillis and Paul Mortimer. Here's Luke Shaw for United finding Pogba. Pogba does well to skip past the challenge, and then he's brought down by Justin. It's a free kick to Manchester United. Precious Nekabari. I just want Manchester United to lose this game by 2-1 while I wait for the Pride of London brackets Chelsea to give Arsenal Football Club their Christmas gift. It's predicting a 4-0 win to Chelsea. There's nothing like an unbiased opinion, Precious. Lovely. It's great that people are so optimistic about their team. I think you find a lot of football fans, particularly English ones, probably less so abroad. English fans are always desperately pessimistic. Here's Cavani. He's found Fernandes! And there's the goal! And Cavani's impact from the bench is instant. It's an assist this time. And Bruno Fernandes yet again has contributed goals to Manchester United. It's his 14th of the season. A simple enough finish after he guessed where Cavani would put it expertly, swiveled and steered it past Schmeichel. We've only got 11 and a half minutes left, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester United 2. Are they heading for yet another away win?
Well, it seems that way, because you look at Leicester, for much as they've done, they haven't really done anything to De Gea. He's only had one problem, that was when they scored that first goal. And Fernandes has had one of his poorer games as such, but he's got an assist, and now he's got a goal. And we have to say this is a good away performance by Manchester United. Haven't been outstanding, haven't really had to be really, but what they've done, they've stayed in the game and they've just reacted off of Leicester pushing on a little bit, and they've just got in behind them, and the man, they've got someone in the front line who was just working the line and creates an opportunity.
Yeah, it was a great ball by Cavani. I mean, Martial spent the best part of 77 minutes doing next to nothing, and Cavani in 2 minutes as a substitute has already provided an assist, and United have the lead 2-1, and Leicester have to try and come back again. They did with Harvey Barnes in the first half relatively quickly. Within 8 minutes they were level after United had gone ahead. So suddenly Leicester City, who may have felt, given that their record against United recently is so poor, a point would be decent, now have to try and get a goal. Otherwise their worrying home form will persist. If they lose this, it's 3 defeats in 4 at home. You can't really win the title with those kind of figures. I mean, I know United's home form is dreadful as well. Leicester are about to make a change. Mark Albrighton is coming off, and it's Jose Perez, the Spaniard, who's coming on, former Newcastle player. Only 2 goals in 27 for him though, so it'd be a good time for him to improve that particular average. Leicester have a free kick just inside the Manchester United half. It's going to be James Maddison to deliver into a crowded box. It's Pogba who flicks it away, only as far as Barnes back in, and again it's only half cleared by United, but then Cavani brilliantly with a flick over his head finds Fernandes. I mean, that's another thing, Paul. We've talked about removing Martial and putting Cavani on, but immediately Fernandes and Cavani seem to have developed an understanding, as was exemplified by the goal.
I just think that's just down to a lot of it to mutual respect and just being footballers, being thinkers, and that's what they've got. We've seen Wan-Bissaka do it with Fernandes. You've seen Van der Beek do it with Fernandes. They all got their way of playing and respect for each other. And the problem is when you see Martial, he's still fighting himself, let alone fighting to get involved with anyone else. He does not interact as a team player. That's one of his big problems.
Well, if Manchester United win this game, it will equal a Premier League record currently shared by Chelsea and Manchester City in 2008 and 2017 respectively. But here's Harvey Barnes. It's not over yet for Leicester. He's done it once. Can he do it again? Well, he's tackled by the backtracking McTominay, but at the expense of a corner kick which United have conceded with 8 minutes to go. They'll be kicking themselves, United, if they were to for a second time be pegged back to parity by Leicester City. But they do have a corner. It's their 5th corner of the game, Leicester, and Wilfred Ndidi's gone up. Johnny Evans has gone up as well. It's going to be an in-swinger from James Maddison from the left-hand side as Leicester attack. And Harry Maguire makes a clean header, but it comes out to Barnes. Barnes, it's still inside the box, looks to play the ball back. It's come outside now to Justin. Justin with the cross. Johnny Evans with the header. Maguire with the header away. It comes out to Maddison. Maddison nods it into Wilfred Ndidi, and then Leicester have to play it back, but they still have possession. It's Timothy Castagne who rolls the ball square to James Justin. Leicester still pushing and probing, looking for an equaliser. As it stands, Manchester United will close the gap on leaders Liverpool and bring themselves above Leicester in the table. So the two will swap places if United win here. But it's not done yet. 7 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Here's Tielemans for the Foxes. But United have got a good shape here defensively. They've got everyone back behind the ball from Cavani backwards. And Leicester are having trouble getting through at the moment. Here's Fofana, and he's been caught in possession, and Cavani's done well to find Fred, and this is where United can be dangerous on the counter-attack. Fernandes trying to get on the end of the through ball. Johnny Evans has got there first, and he's tidily played it back to Kasper Schmeichel, and a whistle is blown potentially for a foul, I think maybe by Fernandes, or did the ball go out of play? I'm not sure. There doesn't seem to be any animosity between the two of them. I think it is a foul. He just trod on Evans's foot. It was completely accidental as he stretched for the ball. And Leicester have a free kick, but it's deep inside their own half. They need to be up at the other end now. Fardog HMJ, Fernandes question mark, greatest of all time in Manchester United signings. Well, I think Eric Cantona might have something to say about that, but he's certainly been their best for a very long time. No question. Here's Jose Perez though for Leicester. Half tackle by Shaw. It squirts out to Justin. Back to Perez on the turn. Vardy! There he is! Again, Jamie Vardy! 2-2. Well, when you've got him in the team, there is always hope. And Jamie Vardy on the spot to steer the ball in. He's done virtually nothing for 85 minutes, but it doesn't matter. He's done what he does. And Leicester have got themselves level again. It's Leicester 2, Manchester United 2.
Well, the scoreline, again, as I say, it reflects the game. The draw is a draw, but that just sums up Vardy. I mean, I haven't mentioned him, I haven't even talked about how much we just haven't seen him, because you say that at your peril. And even without even mentioning him, he still pops up and he scores a typical Jamie Vardy goal. If you allow teams to get near that byline and able to pull it back or pull it across the line, someone's going to be the end of it. And for Leicester, it's going to be someone like Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I mean, I said it, I'm not trying to be clever, but I would say that in most cases you'd have to expect some kind of all-round game for a player. But Jamie Vardy, it doesn't really matter, does it, to Leicester if he doesn't do much, because, you know, your money's on him scoring, and he's done it again. It's his 12th Premier League goal of the season. He's only one behind Mo Salah now. More importantly, it looks like it's given Leicester a point as they come back again. They might even get all three here as they try to come forward once more, but Shaw has intercepted. United must have thought they'd done enough to win it, but you just cannot do that when one of your opponents is Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, but the thing about it as well, there's players who sit about and you'll get your teammates pitting around going, yeah, but he's doing nothing. Jamie Vardy worked so hard. The amount of yards he's put in, and I don't just mean running around like a chicken with no head. He's closing down, forcing teams down certain avenues so they can then pin them in and then try and get the ball back from them to then go and attack. And he's organising as he goes along the line. So even I've just grown more and more respect for him as a player. I see him more than just a goal scorer. And all of a sudden, the cherry at the top of the cake, he goes and scores a goal, and he's done a lot of yards, not had a lot of touches off the ball, but he's going to walk away, and everyone's going to tell you how important he is to Leicester City.
Absolutely, there's no question about that. Leicester win a free kick deep inside their own half. It's the 40th goal that Jamie Vardy has scored against the Big Six clubs. That is quite a record. Also, rubbish statistic of the day, Claxon. It's the first time Jamie Vardy has ever scored on Boxing Day. He left it late, 85 minutes, but we're just watching a replay of Brendan Rodgers' reaction to it, and he was delighted, the Leicester City manager. It could be a big point, this, for Leicester. It keeps them, or will keep them, assuming it stays this way, above United in the table. United head it forward, Cavani chases, Johnny Evans hoists it back, Maguire heads it away. There are still 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time to be played. I don't think there'll be a huge amount of stoppage time. What happened there? Marcus Rashford has gone down holding his shoulder as if he was pulled by Harvey Barnes after the ball had gone out of play. It's a strange kind of thing. We're going to look at it again here. I see. Yeah, he had hold of Rashford and he pulled him back.
A little bit, yeah. He might have just slightly pulled it out of its socket. That's all it is.
I don't think it's that bad. I hope not.
Well, it can just happen, and just that movement and put his arm down might have just knocked it back in. I've done it on a few occasions before having the operation.
Here's Tuanzebe, and this time it's Fernandes down for Manchester. Why on earth has Tuanzebe passed to him? Oh my God, that is classic. Oh, Fernandes is down nursing an injury, and Tuanzebe passes it to him when he's on his knees, and Fernandes has to get up, and to his credit, he managed to keep possession for United. They've lost it now, though.
He virtually said to him, I don't think you're injured, just carry on.
Here's ball forward towards Vardy by Pereira, and almost got through. Tuanzebe was there to tidy up for Manchester United. Are we going to get a Boxing Day finale from either of these two teams to go on and take all 3 points? Very poor ball across midfield by Fred, which Tuanzebe is not able to keep in. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer clearly believes that United can go on and win this one. He's up on the side of the pitch clapping his hands together. Jackson Chelsea has sent us a tweet, just a picture of Jamie Vardy pointing as if to say, I told you so. United forward, Rashford chases putting Johnny Evans under a bit of pressure. Evans has to put the ball out of play. We're in the final minute of the 90. It's 2-2 at the King Power. Can United yet again win away, or will their proud record come to an end here? Here's Harry Maguire. Well, they like doing it from behind, United. They've been behind twice here. Can they go in front for a third time, I wonder? Or they haven't. They've been level here, I should say. I'm getting carried away and getting all my maths wrong. Here's Tuanzebe. It's Leicester who've been behind, of course. Bailly intercepted. Tielemans for Leicester. The ball's been clipped out of play because Leicester have got an injury. We've got 4 minutes of added on time. Coming up in a moment, Villa against Palace. Two of Paul Mortimer's former clubs against each other under his watching eye alongside Toby Gillis. Maddison is the player who's down for Leicester City. They won't want him injured. He's had injury problems in the past, and he looks okay as he gets back to his feet. It might add a minute on to the proceedings. Manchester United have a throw on the far side, level with it to the penalty area. They're going to sportingly give it back to Leicester City and allow them to... Oh, hang on. Fernandes has then... Well, he's thrown the ball harmlessly towards the Leicester player, who I think was then going to roll it back to Schmeichel, but then Fernandes tackled back at him. I suppose you can do that once you've given it to him. You can't just hang around for half an hour waiting for him to decide what to do with it. Here's Harvey Barnes, got Leicester's first goal. We're into stoppage time now. He plays a square ball to Yuri Tielemans, who finds Jose Perez. Perez on the right hand side finds Justin to Perez. Leicester still inside the United final third, and Fred has given away a rather silly free kick. He's gone through the back of James Maddison, which will mean a potentially good set piece for Leicester City. If either team score now, there'll surely be no way back for the other. Maddison was guilty, I think, a little bit of milking that, but the free kick's been given.
Yeah, but Fred's gone that close to him and gone and done that. People are doing that now, so you have to not just be precise in your stopping distances, you have to actually be precise in the fact of to make sure that you make no contact at all with that player. You're just stopping him being able to turn on you.
Well, Manchester United took a 21-game unbeaten run into this game. There's the cross, headed away by Pogba. And then Tielemans strikes it. Oh, and there was a chance for Jose Perez, and he scuffed it wide. I don't know whether he was onside or not. If he wasn't, it's a chance spurned, although the ball did pop at him rather unexpectedly, and he could only wave his foot towards it and just drive it past the post.
Well, I'll tell you what, he went in as players were coming out, so it was a good chance. He would have been very, very close, but I'll tell you what, it's one of them that United don't want to know about now. It's gone, the moment's gone.
Yep. We're in to the 93rd minute of the game. Here's Bruno Fernandes, who thought his goal had given United another away day win. As it stands, it's 2-2. United haven't lost away since January in a domestic fixture. Here's Harry Maguire. It looks as if it's going to finish all square, which I think would probably be a fair result, given what both of these teams have taken to the match. Here's McTominay, double goal hero against Leeds last time out, finds Tuanzebe. Now it's Eric Bailly. United are running out of time. They need to get the ball forward. Harry Maguire obliges and finds Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw can't control it initially under pressure from Perez and gets it back to Fernandes. Fernandes to Scott McTominay. Centre midfield for Manchester United. Now it's Tuanzebe. McTominay again. They have had a few late shows, United, with late winners. I remember one at Brighton earlier in the season that I watched with a last kick penalty. Here's Rashford finding Tuanzebe. Back to Rashford again. Rashford's offside, and that might just be it, because we're almost up to the 94-minute mark. There might just be a few seconds added on, but it looks as if it's on as even. It is between these two title-chasing sides. Leicester City coming back twice from behind to draw level with Manchester United. Rashford put them front on 23 minutes. 8 minutes later, Harvey Barnes made it 1-1. Then Bruno Fernandes thought he'd won it 12 minutes from time, but Jamie Vardy, who else, was on the spot 5 minutes from the end to make sure that it finished level at the King Power. Here's the ball into the box. Rashford scores this time. Missed a header earlier, wasn't going to be denied. 23 minutes played. Leicester City's defence stood still, and Rashford had the simple task of stroking the ball beyond Kasper Schmeichel.
That was something out of nothing, and it was a lucky deflection, to be perfectly honest. Wasn't lucky about the finish, because the way he took it was absolutely perfection, the way he took it.
Here's Harvey Barnes. Left foot shot, brilliant goal. Leicester City have equalised just after the half hour, and Harvey Barnes has beaten David De Gea with a really clean and crisp drive from the edge of the penalty area.
Maguire had a comedy moment there. The moment he stopped the ball, it seemed like someone took his boots away and said, stand on ice.
Here's Cavani. He's found Fernandes, and there's the goal. And Cavani's impact from the bench is instant. It's an assist this time, and Bruno Fernandes yet again has contributed goals to Manchester United. Back to Perez on the turn. Vardy, there he is again. Jamie Vardy. 2-2. Well, when you've got him in the team, there is always hope. Yes, Jamie Vardy having the final say as Manchester United and Leicester draw 2-2 at the King Power. It means that Liverpool are currently 3 points clear at the top of the table with 31 points. Leicester have 28. Manchester United a further point behind them, but this draw means that Everton could manoeuvre themselves above both clubs into second place behind their Merseyside rivals if, as you would expect perhaps given the season, they win at Sheffield United. That's the 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. So there is a chance for Everton to get themselves in and amongst the top two as well. Paul, I think I said it at the end of the game, and I'll probably stick by it. It was 2 apiece, and probably a point for each side is about right.
Yeah, both of them deserve no more than that, to be perfectly honest. neither of them done enough really to come out even think about saying that they deserve the 3 points. The draw's fair. I think both managers will be very happy with that at the moment. I think more so United, they're keeping a good run going, which is quite important as well. Okay, they didn't get the win to add to it, but what they've done is they've kept themselves unbeaten, which is always good to play when you're behind that. It gives you that little bit of strength and belief when you're on a good unbeaten run.
It's strange though, isn't it? I mean, the 6 games they've won away from home, they've been behind in all of them. In this one they led twice but they couldn't win it.
Yeah, I mean there's a way of playing, you know, when you're in control, you're 1-0 up, or you're 1-1 when you're away from home. United have been chasing, and they've just gone at it just at one tempo, and they've just had to chase, and that's United, to be perfectly honest. It was from my day, prior to my day. It's just something that they had, something about them, and it's just a reputation that's gone for years, and it's been carried on this season by, in theory, a team that hasn't been good defensively away from home in early parts of games.
And Leicester, I mean, Vardy, the saviour again, didn't do an awful lot, but he stuck the ball in the net with 5 minutes left. It's his 12th goal of the Premier League season, the top scorer in the top division last year. And I mean, he's an absolute treasure for Leicester, isn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. And I've seen already there's more to his game than just scoring goals, and there is a pulse when he does play for him. He adds something, and if he's not on the park for Leicester City, I'm sure even the hardened Leicester City fans has a worry about his team if Vardy's not on that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these two teams, it was a game where there was moments of quality, but there were moments that were not so good. Do you see either as credible title contenders, potentially?
You don't know what is credible this season. You just mentioned saying there, and you talked about Everton can go into second spot. Yeah. So we don't know what's credible, or we just say what's credible at this moment in time, and what's going on in football all over the world at the moment. Is the best side going to win the Premier League this season? Is the best side going to qualify for the Champions League? We really don't know, but we have to suggest that anything could happen this season. And as long as any in the last 4 or 5 games in the season, there's 4 or 5 teams in contention to win the Premier League. Wow, that would be something to talk about, wouldn't it?
It is brilliant. I mean, Manchester United could have gone second. They actually could. I think they could end up this weekend 7th if everyone below them wins. It really is absolutely fascinating, and that's why we love it. Paul, my thanks to you. Pleasure to be working with you again. Thanks to all of you lot for listening. Thanks for all your tweets. It's been a pleasure again. I hope you had a lovely Christmas. I hope we've helped you get through Boxing Day, and of course we'll do it all again in 2 days' time with even more Premier League fixtures, but there's plenty more to come. Aston Villa against Palace coming up with Toby Gillis and Paul Mortimer. That's next up. But from me, John Anderson, compliments of the season. Hope you enjoyed this one. Stay tuned. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport.
Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, text, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Doug, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on TalkSport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. TalkSport. It's the Double O Duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on TalkSport.
TalkSport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents, and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from TalkSport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport. Premier League Live with TalkSport. All the big goals and big moments from the world's biggest football league.
They get a second. Here they can! Mason Greenwood with a wonderful turn past Fofana. Jamie Vardy wins the game for Leicester.
Bringing you the best of the Premier League all year round.
No, it's a cracker from Kane to almost break the crossbar.
Leeds United, who have huffed and puffed all game long, have finally blown the Everton defence down.
Thumping head up, and there is goal number 5 for Manchester City, and it's a hat-trick for Riyad Mahrez.
Premier League Live with TalkSport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Aston Villa against Crystal Palace from Villa Park. I'm your host, Toby Gillis. Alongside me, the former Villa and Palace winger, Paul Mortimer. It's like we picked him purposely. This is Premier League Live. Let's jump straight into it, because Aston Villa have been probably the most improved side in the Premier League this season, but they face a team who I'd have thought would be pretty pleased with their start to the campaign, albeit a recent relative drop-off has seen them start after their 14 matches so far this season exactly the same as they did this time last year when they had 18 points from their 14 games. But we are, for Boxing Day at least, far earlier in the campaign than usual. Let's tell you about the two sides, because for Aston Villa, for the 100th time today under their manager Dean Smith, perhaps no surprise that after a superb victory last time out by 3-0 at West Bromwich Albion, there are absolutely no changes, and that means Jack Grealish, their inspirational captain,